here, you know, you get an insight and you know something, you know, but you don't want to say it out loud because you're kind of afraid that it's not going to be really true and it'll spoil the whole thing for you, you know. But when somebody makes you say it, then, and it's true, then it just makes it more beautiful of a thing.
I'm not crazy, Malin. I'm not crazy, Malin. I've just been in a very bad mood for 40 years. 40 years.
Carpe diem. Carpe diem.
These players are so damn good.
The talent on these teams is undeniable. Everybody on every team right now is making plays.
It's going to be an exciting start to the season, and it'll just get better from here on out.
We're about to step to a whole new era of Overwatch esports. So much exciting action is happening here on CGL that you do not want to miss.
Look who's starting it all off. It's Raven. No one necessarily figure out what is the right way to go just yet.
What a nice roll through from Pibble. He's just going to solidify everything within those.
Does come back, and Arsario gets the mech, but I don't need a mech. I'll kill 4 anyway.
This is just a highlight reel for Arsario right now.
They're making a statement in the EU Masters here.
This patch is still incredibly fresh. There's so much to learn, so much to change about the way we play the game.
NKC, but the shatter is colossal.
Let's get it going.
Trades keep coming through. Lores, you're going to be able to find these shots true.
Inu on the overclock with 2.
Here comes an Anvil immediately comes back with fine skills, slicing and dicing their way through 2-3, so back and forth.
Hello CGL, welcome back to another EU matchup. Today we're going to be over in the EU Masters division. So we are going to be watching Pibble Platoon versus Plate Group. I am Rain. Today I am joined by Crumble on the other mic. Hey Crumble, how are you?
I'm pretty good. EU Masters, I've gotten a little bit of experience. You might have seen Couch Potatoes kind of stumble and fall a little bit as time has gone on. We'll pick ourselves back up. But Pibble Platoon is actually a team that we have been familiar with. And I'll tell you, they're quite a force to be reckoned with. They are mechanically a powerhouse.
Yeah, I'm expecting a pretty good matchup from these two teams, and we are going to have even more Overwatch action on later tonight, so we'll start here in EU. But if you are still awake, you can tune in at 8:30 Eastern to check out Dire Triggers versus EMP No Match Found. That's going to be over in the NA division later on tonight, so lots of action to see here in CGL today. But we are, of course, going to be getting started out here in the EU Master Division, and like Crumble just said, Pibble Platoon, strong team here. This is a team that does have 1 loss. It is against SCR Ascendants, a very strong team as well. And then Plate Group, currently undefeated as we head into this Week 4 match.
Yeah, and undefeated in round robin as well, and quite handily so. We're looking at 2 3-0s and 1 3-1, and yeah, in round robin, you're going to be going up against every single team. You're seeing a huge variety of different compositions, different play styles, and teams that play in different ways, right? And to hold your own and nearly get a 3-0 every single match for 3 consecutive weeks takes a lot of resilience, I think. We'll see if they can keep it up in this series. And obviously, Plate Group, I gotta respect the Lizzie representation on the team logo as well. I gotta shout that out.
Yeah, zoom in to check out the God Save the Queen here for Plate Group. But week number 4, as usual, we will be getting started out in the control map type here. And these are set starting maps. So for week number 4, we are going to be heading over on to Ilios in this first to 3 best of 5 here. So once we get into that second map is when we're gonna have the hybrid and the escort and the flashpoint and the push modes all open up, but we got to get through the control map first.
Yeah, and Oasis brings a lot more to the table. I mean, you know, whenever you see Oasis, you're thinking of the well, you're thinking of the edge of the maps, you're thinking of environmentals, you're thinking of your Lucios, your Roadhogs. Will we see Roadhog? I highly doubt it. You never know in CGL. But in terms of what these teams might play, I mean, we've been seeing a lot, I feel, of Zarya has been quite a strong pick. But on this map in particular, I feel like you're bound to see the Diva, especially on Lighthouse.
I have to agree, right? Having that kind of the vertical movement of the diva, you're going to be able to control a lot of this high ground. Lighthouse and On Ruins does have some of that high ground to control. Well, that's where you might get a little bit more into those brawl compositions. But I do agree that we have been seeing a whole lot of that Zarya paired often with either a Reaper or a Vendetta. And despite those 5 new heroes being available for play, unfortunately, Crumble, we haven't really gotten to see a whole lot of them so far.
Yeah, which is a little surprising. I mean, you know, consensus in the community, Emre and Anran, they can do a lot of good things and get a lot of value. But, you know, Anran's getting compared to Genji, and a lot of our players here are obviously very, very more used to the mechanics of Genji. So in a round robin environment like this, you're going to want to go for that. Ban comes out, and I can't see it because of the... Oh, Tracer ban. Okay. On Ilios, that does make a lot of sense, actually.
Yep, I have to agree. The Tracer's so good at controlling those angles, and despite not having that vertical movement that, say, a Genji or an Echo might have, the Tracer definitely very, very strong, has been consistently in the meta, and I do feel that with this last patch where now she does have a little bit of a nerf to the damage, but those projectile sizes are bigger here, so she's still gonna have a really easy time taking those one-on-one duels on the flank.
Yeah, and now you got to think to yourself, you know, you're banning the Tracer. Player have got to think, you know, what are Pibble playing here? If they're trying to maybe tune down, stoke the flames a little bit of something that isn't dive. And the Brig actually does come out, which the Brig ban comes out, which is interesting. We haven't really seen a lot of Brig. It's mostly the Kiriana in the dive, but I mean, hey, she's got a scary flail. I'll give you that.
Yeah, I agree. Interesting to see the Brig ban come out here, where, you know, you mentioned it just earlier. Ilios is really kind of about that Lucio gameplay. That's what I'm mostly anticipating to see is like Lucio Kiriko backlines here. But the Brig is, of course, very good at kind of playing that protectionist role. So going to be good against the dive compositions that come in, which I do expect we will probably end up on at some point here on Ilios.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, you know, Pibble, they ban the Tracer trying to maybe, you know, steer Plate Group off of a dive. And then Plate Group say, okay, well, we're going to still try play a dive. Maybe it's with an Echo, or maybe it's with a Genji. And we're not going to let you have the Brig, which, to be fair, out of all the supports in the game, Brig does have the best anti-dive. There's arguments being had about Mizuki. I'll still stick by Brig. I think Brig is really, really good for the anti-dive, protecting your other support. We're probably going to be seeing the Lucy Kiri matchup in the backlines, which we do tend to see. But it'll be interesting to see if Plate Group, with that Brig ban, if they are going to then push to still try go that dive.
Right, many questions as we get ready to head into Elio. So let's get acquainted with these two teams. First up, Pibble Platoon here. We have Mitsuri and Prime, the DPS. Ghost Town on that tank role, and then Dr. Rickton and Geo, the supports here. And I have to note that Pibble Platoon do have a good chunk of substitutions here if they so need it. I believe there are 5 subs here, so it's a very full roster for this team to kind of work around.
Yeah, and a deep bench is really, really helpful, right? And we've talked a lot about in round robin. You're going up against a lot of different play styles. If you're kind of clashing with another team and you or your tank, for example, just doesn't have a good matchup into them in the tank trade, you know, if you have 5 substitutions, you can bring in another tank player. You can make something work. But let's go over and have a little look at Plate Group as well. We'll be seeing, I love the Torb preferred hero. That makes me really, really happy. We've got Balerion on hit scan, Gangam on hit scan as well. On the tank, we've got How to Draw, and on the support lineup, we've got Big Shrimpin and the best, Jinx. I'm a big shrimp fan myself as well. I love a good shrimp. I do.
I'm gonna have to trust you on that one. I have never eaten shrimp, but hey, somebody is a fan if they're gonna name themselves after Big Shrimpin. So this Plate Group, again, very strong. We've mentioned that currently undefeated here as we head into week number 4. Don't quite have as deep of a bench to pull from, but still having 2 substitutions here if Plate Group do need it. And we'll have to see if any of those players make an appearance here in this best of 5. So, you know, quite a few maps here to try and swap people out if you do need to.
Yeah, that's right. I feel like, normally in these round robins, control tends to be the testing ground, kind of feel out your opponent, get a sense for what they play. A lot of the times we see those first bans coming in. I will say Pibble Platoon, when we played against them on Couch Potatoes, we went in with a very direct plan of what to ban, and they surprised us yet like over and over again, not only with their versatility within the starting roster, but also because they have that deep bench. It's really, really beneficial for them. It's hard to pin them down with a ban. It's really hard.
That's such a good point, all right? And that's what you really want with the bans, is to be able to really get something in your favor, get a little leg up over a team. So when there's so much versatility, it's so hard to make that happen. As we are going to be starting out on Ruins first here for Ilios. Initial swaps coming out as the doors open. Mitsuri is going to show us that Emre Prime over on the Genji. Play group does look like they want to play this more kind of dive, but you are going to have this poke damage in the Echo and the Freya here, so we're going to have to see if Playgroup can make use of that poke damage.
Ooh, bit of DPS Lucio. Someone's been watching a little bit of Frogger. Mitsuri out of the fight early is going to be really good for Playgroup here. That's a lot of long-range pressure. Mitsuri is definitely a dangerous hit scam player. They get free reign of the point, and the cap goes through.
All right, I mean, that's a nice quick cap here. Playgroup, ooh, yeah, the stagger as well. Right now, Pibble Platoon are kind of forced to back up here. You do not want to lose another member and just allow more percentage to go over onto Playgroup. As we can see, Playgroup's walking forward. They're getting themselves set up so that they have angles on this choke point that Pibble Platoon have to walk through.
Yeah, and the Genji, and yeah, like you said, like the DPS line on the side of Pibble Platoon are just getting poked out before they can even really take an angle. Ghost Town looking for an aggressive push in and gets immediately demech'd. The right click from the Echo, the bow, the shots from the Freya as well. It's a little too much to handle. And although Prime gets a trade, it still looks like things are in the favor of Pibble Platoon. I mean, not Pibble Platoon. No, Playgroup. Absolutely.
Yeah, unfortunately with Ghost Town out of that mech, you essentially don't have a tank in this fight. Prime, though, finding a trade here, and Ghost Town is going to get that mech back very soon here. So Pibble Platoon, a small opening for them to try and get some percentage.
Yeah, they actually get the point cap. Good play there, though, from Playgroup to be able to back up, use their defense matrix, keep their supports alive. Now they're back, and Balerion gets caught out. Hovering in the air, it's a pretty easy target for some shurikens. Although getting a little low there, Prime, but the front line of Pibble Platoon, they're finally kicking. They're not going to go down easy.
No, and you do have that late kill onto, or early kill kind of onto Prime here, so gonna need a little bit of time for Pibble Platoon to get back to full strength here. Playgroup are coming into this next fight, 5 ultimates on the board. Pibble Platoon are getting very close to some ults of their own, but crucially, Doctor doesn't have that beat ready, so it is gonna be Big Shrimpin that has that advantage.
Yeah, we're going to see the Kasuna Rush come out first, trying to maybe bait out some ultimates on the side of Pibble Platoon. They use the Nano, but Ghost Town actually loses the mech with it. Prime and Mitsuri both popping their ultimates, trying to claim any last dregs of this fight, and they're going to be doing a great job at it. On the side, Mitsuri is landing shot after shot, and it's back and forth, but with your D.Va still in mech, and Ghost Town out of that fight, your front line's a lot stronger, and you're able to get the point.
That's a very expensive fight for Pibble Platoon to lose. Unfortunately, commit 4 ultimates into it. Now, Doctor does have the beat ready to go for the next fight. Mitsuri's going to swap off of that Emre over onto the Ashe here. Going to be able to put some pressure on Gangnam on this Echo, and also onto Balerion on that Freya, like you mentioned, playing up in the sky here. But ults ready to go here. Playgroup are going to have the beat to match Pibble Platoon, and How to Draw has this bomb for that remake.
Yeah, Balerion falling quite low in that hit scan duel. Like I said, you don't want to mess with him. Mitsuri, aggressive beat comes out, but it's too late. Ghost Town has been demech'd. Your tank is gone. Pibble Platoon, you gotta protect that D.Va. They're just not doing a good enough job. Trade comes through, and maybe this fight is salvageable, but not if Balerion has anything to say about it. This is our point, not even a touch available. First round goes to Playgroup.
And a little bit of back and forth there. Pibble Platoon able to kind of capitalize when they find that opening pick, but Playgroup just overall seems a little bit more stable in this composition that they're looking for. Forcing Pibble Platoon to make some compositional changes is already a win here because you're going to lose out on some of that ult charge. You're also going to have to kind of reset. It's hard to come back into fights when you make these adjustments. You need a little bit of a kind of warm up here. So Playgroup off to a fantastic start here as we are going to be heading over to Well for this next sub-map, and this is one of those maps that points that are really, really hard to kind of retake once you get in control, and Playgroup did a fantastic job of maintaining control over on Ruin, so if they're able to get set up on this point, I think it's going to be really hard for Pibble Platoon to push into it. It is going to be the TP out from both teams. Gangnam off of the Echo over onto the Venture. Otherwise, no changes here for Playgroup. Pibble Platoon, though, do find their way over into this cage and know that they like to kind of stage around here, so trying to avoid some of this poke damage that's coming in from the Freya.
Yeah, I think the name of the game right now is to try enable Matsuri, try take that space, let him line up a beautiful railgun headshot, although kind of losing a little bit in that long-range draw. Balerion looking strong, full health there. Right now, it's just the Divas trying to look space. A little dive going onto the side of Pibble Platoon. Everyone's already low. Matsuri goes down. So does Geo. And that is a beautiful synchronized dive right there from Playgroup. They're looking so clean.
Yeah, fantastic job, and like I mentioned, this is a hard point to retake here, so Playgroup getting the early percentage here, going to be able to get themselves set up, especially when you have Balerion with this long-range damage. Yes, Gangnam over on this Venture is going to have to wait for Pibble Platoon to get a little bit closer, but Balerion has the opportunity to kind of really force out some cooldowns before Pibble Platoon can take any space, and Ghost Town had to go for the reset there, really having a hard time, I think, staying in this mech, and it really is due to all of this poke damage that's coming in from Playgroup here, so it's going to be Pibble Platoon trying to find their way in. Nice E!
Oh, that's a good E! Ghost Town back. Oh, nobody falls down! Oh, what a sad end. But yeah, great. Right back from spawn, Ghost Town gets the E. But still, great discipline here from the side of Playgroup. Like, they are still holding their own. They still have control of the point. And Pibble Platoon, they're going to have to come back into this one. They do nearly have the Casino Rush, which is going to be a key ultimate in this next fight.
Yeah, you force out the Suzu as well. Would love to get a late kill. Yeah, over onto the Kiriko. But Pibble Platoon have not capped this point yet. And now How to Draw is back in this fight. So you're going to have to do some big cleanup here to flip this over if you're Platoon.
Yeah, I mean, just watching Ghost Town's POV, this is what Pibble Platoon are good at. It's those mechanics. Every single rocket, every single pellet of that fusion driver cannon is going to be landing. Finally, Pibble Platoon look like they're getting the flip. There we go. Just catching out the last stragglers. But Playgroup coming back, they have got plentiful ults.
Yeah, now it is nice that Pibble Platoon were able to build up some ults of their own. I think especially this Kitsune Rush, you like to have that early on to get out some of this damage and force out some of these cooldowns from the attacking team here. Balerion not close to the ultimate, otherwise everything else on the board here for Playgroup. If you're Pibble Platoon though, you do have this space to work with, so you really want to try and find the opening pick here.
Yeah, very aggressive angle going there from Mitsuri, and Prime definitely following up with that damage. Both the rushes placed down onto point, trying to find that value. Divas just bumping into each other in the air. Both have bombs, so both kind of have a second life here. The DPS line on Pibble Platoon are really who are coming alive in this fight, punishing any over-aggression, and Gangnam was definitely doing that there. Gets punished by Prime. Here comes the overclock from Mitsuri, going really aggressive, pushing all the way into their spawn. Really, they're just trying to let that point tick up a little bit of a trade there. And Balerion will actually be back in this fight a little quicker than Mitsuri.
Yeah, I like Gangnam swapping over onto the Widow, trying to find a headshot when Pibble Platoon are pushed up that far. But yeah, the Pibble Platoon still in control here. The beat available for both teams here. But Playgroup do slightly have that ult advantage here to work with. Gonna be hard to necessarily find the connection of this bola shot though, because Ghost Town has proven to be very, very good at eating those ultimates up.
Yeah, it's all about the beats here, and with Shrimping down, Playgroup don't have theirs. Dr. Richthofen takes advantage of that. They beat aggressively. Prime just get taken out, though. So Playgroup have something to work with here.
And looking to put themselves on the point, haven't quite flipped it over. You lose Gangnam as well, so the window to cap this point rapidly closing here for Playgroup, and at 90+%, Pibble Platoon are looking to tie up Ilios.
Yep, how to draw has to be forced to touch here. Big Trumpet still has this beat. That's going to be such a key ultimate in this fight, but with how to draw already losing the mech, and then the beat goes off. We've seen this before, and it never ends well. Matsuri, Prime, they're doing absolutely everything they can. The copy onto the Diva. The space on point is unmatched. You got two big mechs there. There's nothing you can do. And a great answer from Pibble Platoon, really stepping into their own here.
Yeah, I really like the way that Pibble Platoon played that once they were in control. They pushed aggressively when they had the ultimates to do so, but they never stuck around long enough to really fall into the disadvantage. When they lose the one early on, it's going to be Mitsuri. Oh, yeah, just fantastic. Ghost Town, really impressed with this Diva. And a lot of this this mechanical skill that's coming from Ghost Town is what's really allowing Pibble Platoon to walk forward and take all of this space. Fantastic use of the defense matrix, and really has adjusted, because Ghost Town, I feel like, was really suffering trying to stay in the mech on Ruins, but immediate adjustment there over on Well, enough to get Pibble Platoon a point here on Ilios. We are going to be heading over to Lighthouse for this tiebreaker on Ilios. Now, it is going to be the TP out from Prime over onto the Genji here. Nope. Going over onto the Echo. Just kidding. But it is going to be these kind of same compositions here. So going to have to see if Playgroup are going to be able to swing this back over in their favor and try and shut down some of this momentum Pibble Platoon is building.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, Ghost Town already going in very aggressive. His signature style actually gets the boop onto Valerion. Unlucky, mate. You didn't have any cooldowns left to get back up. And that's exactly what you want to see, right? Because Valerion has those vertical cooldown movements. Mitsuri can't really get up to high ground as easy, so you want to shut down Valerion as quickly as possible.
It's a good point, and I have to say I'm impressed by how many environmental kills I'm seeing from the Divas and the copied Divas here.
Right?
Usually I feel it's the Lucios that get to shine a little bit here, but the Divas really stepping up and finding those limbs. Now, it is going to be the point captured here by Pibble Platoon, and they're doing a great job controlling both of these high grounds. Mitsuri, nice and safe on that back one, and then you're going to have Ghost Town set up on this front one to really control all this space.
Yeah, we're still kind of in the neutral here. Not really many ults coming up. Ghost Town going in nice and aggressive. Finds Jinx, finds Gangnam. Oh my god, you can't run away from this man. The boosters are a secret weapon. Nearly gets booped. Luckily, it doesn't go off the map, though. And yeah, Playgroup are really struggling to find it in here, especially with Ghost Town pushing in so aggressively, so early, and cutting off those high ground angles.
I think that we're really seeing kind of not having that tracer that's able to kind of find the flank and put pressure onto the opposing DPS here means that you're not really going to have kind of a foot in the door. You need to have the Diva kind of push forward and take space away from Pibble Platoon, but Pibble Platoon is doing such a great job controlling this high ground that you're forcing these cooldowns out of how to draw. The defense matrix is being eaten up just trying to get onto that high ground, and that means that Mitsuri not really having a whole lot of pressure here on that back high ground. Now, though, 70% ults coming online here. Playgroup need to try and displace these members.
Yeah, this one ult goes Owl and does actually find an assist. How to draw, capitalizes on that damage, finds two, and that was the in they were looking for. Ghost Town, of course he trades for a couple of kills there. And he does nearly get taken out. He's got the bomb to keep him up. But yeah, Gangnam's going to finish him off. That was close. You never want to underestimate Ghost Town, even if it's a 1v5.
No, I totally agree with you, Crumble. Now, Playgroup, I think that that's a good in for them. They're having a hard time in these neutral fights kind of winning out, but if you can find these combos between doing the damage with an ultimate and really following up on that damage, I think that's a good way to do things, and I like that they're going first in this fight as well.
Yeah, 4 Divas on the field. Defense Matrix absolutely everywhere. Will any bullets find their way in between them? Mitsuri going for the overclock. He finds Valerion. That's 1 kill. Mechanics of this man cannot be underestimated, but he's getting dived by 2 Divas. And he does end up going down the beat a little bit too late to keep Mitsuri up. Now the opposing beat from Playgroup comes through, and Jinx still has this rush online. As we tick up, do they want to use it in order to secure this fight? Or do they want to hold it?
With Gangnam getting 2 there, you might want to hold on to it, especially taking out Dr. Often as well. Yeah, and there's going to be Playgroup stabilizing here. Kitsune Rush held on to. That is a big win here for Play Group. Another win is to get that stagger on to Ghost Town. Gonna take a little bit longer here for Pibble Platoon to get back into things, and Pibble Platoon is not gonna have anything to work with here, but we have seen Mitsuri and Prime both able to open up these fights by finding that initial pick here. So Pibble Platoon definitely can win in these neutral fights, and with the percentage of getting close to that 80%, Pibble Platoon need to find a win in this neutral.
Yep, and that's an in. Certainly, Ghost finds the opening pick. So aggressive, finds the Lucio, cannot run away. Backline, down for Playgroup, and they don't have their rush online anymore. You cannot underestimate how quickly this D.Va can get onto you. They have the bomb, they don't have much else, but they may not need it. As point is ticking up, 90% and counting. Shrimpin is going to have to touch.
Yeah, this is going to be a really messy touch here. The Lucio, a lot of pressure, no beat to try and sustain yourself, keep yourself alive through it, and
oh no!
The boop on Ghost Town and the headshot. I mean, yeah.
Oh my.
That's it.
Wow, that's a very decisive way to win a map. Booping the Lucio off. But yeah, I mean, really good job from Pibble Platoon coming back after that first round. They looked so disorganized. The mechanics were still there, definitely, but Ghost Town seemed a bit in disarray, didn't know really where to push, and the rotations were really, really good from Plate Group. And then Pibble Platoon come back and they say, you know what? We're just going to play how we usually do. We're going to let Ghost Town absolutely in his brains out, and we all go with him, and we get those kills. And it worked. Time and time again, fight after fight, Ghost Town and Mitsuri picking up 2, 3Ks, 4Ks in some instances, I think, with Ghost Town. The mechanics just can't be understated at all.
Yeah, I think you mentioned at one point the versatility of this team, and we were kind of more leaning towards how they can swap onto different compositions, but I think that the versatility also really showing in the way that they're adapting their play style on these same compositions, which is a really hard thing to do. You know, that's what top tier teams are usually doing, is sticking with the same composition, just finding a different way to make it work. And so far, Pibble Platoon, I mean, there's only one map that has been lost by Plate Group up to this point. All of their matches have been 3-0s, so yeah, to give them a second map loss is a fantastic way to start the match.
It really is. And like you say, I think it's Pibble Platoon, they obviously have a lot of that versatility, but it's knowing to restrict yourself and not do anything too crazy. You know, we saw Mitsuri in particular open up on, I believe, the Ashe, or I think it was the Ashe on round 1. It just wasn't finding the value, and Mitsuri goes, okay, time for All Reliable, time to go Sojourn, and that really, really worked for them. I think they were struggling, both teams were struggling a lot, actually, like you said before, without the Tracer. I mean, Tracer is such a key part to these like aggressive D.Va comps that we see. You know, we don't really see a lot of the Monkey anymore, but we still see the D.Va in this kind of divey sort of play style. And Tracer is such a key component to that. You set up behind, you pincer with the D.Va, and it's how you create a lot of your space. You go pressure point. You know, Tracer's so incredibly vital to control. And not having that, I think we saw both teams, honestly, in round 1 were kind of floundering, not really knowing how quite to get in. They both seem to figure out, but obviously Pibble Platoon come on top. And next up, it looks like we're going to Runasapi.
Ooh, little spoiler here. So it is a Plate Group that gets to select where we go, map and mode. So map number 2, heading over onto Runasapi. I like to see teams kind of stick with a similar style, where Ilios and Runasapi both being these kind of symmetrical type maps. You're not going to be throwing a big wrench into the tempo of gameplay that's happening right here, as if you were to go to Hybrid or Escort, where it really does slow things down typically. So heading over to Runasapi is a good, I think, for both of these teams. So Play Group is going to have to really kind of go and think about how they're going to adjust things to try and find the upper hand against Pibble Platoon on this one.
Yeah, I think if you're Play Group here, you recognize just how aggressive Ghosts can be on the D.Va or the Zarya. You know, very, very aggressive tank player. Honestly, a map with long sightlines like that can be really, really beneficial for you. You know, play further back, punish Ghost. Plate coming up to the plate for the first ban. And I really do wonder what they're going to ban here. You know, Ghost Town clearly very strong on the D.Va. Do you go for that? Are you going for a target ban? You go for maybe a protection ban? I'm honestly not quite sure. There's a lot they could do here.
Yeah, and so Play Group was the one that banned out the Brigida there, and okay, gonna be banning out the Echo here. So, I mean, both teams were running that Echo, but definitely if you don't feel like taking that matchup, taking the Echo out, definitely a good idea. Don't know that I necessarily see a whole lot of Echo on Runasabi specifically, where it's a really long sightline map. There's not as much kind of geometry for the Echo to play around.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking that too. You know, if you want to, if you are noticing how aggressive Pibble Platoon are being, and maybe you want to deter them from diving a little bit, I would think that the D.Va is honestly quite a lot better of a ban. Maybe you ban the Soj, you know, try not let Matsuri be as mobile on that hit scan, so he's more punishable. Now coming for Pibble Platoon's ban, they're going for Ramatra. That I actually do understand that ban a little more. You know, Plate Group is saying we don't want you to play dive, and Pibble are saying we don't want you to try force this kind of pokey brawl. But we actually don't really see. I don't think we've really seen a lot from Ramatra recently. It's kind of either been the D.Va or the Zarya.
Yeah, I do agree. Have been seeing the Ramatra a bit in response to Domina compositions, where Domina is played very similarly to that Sigma. It's more of a poke, kind of a tank here, which could blend well to the long sight lines of Runasapi. So potentially we could see the Ramatra, but I do agree, usually it is in response to a different comp to try and cancel something out here. So interesting bans from both teams. We'll have to see if this really shakes up the comps that they've been opting to run. We could, of course, still end up on this D.Va composition with the Sojourn.
I have a feeling.
With the Lucio Kiriko. And now Tracer's back on the field, so you just swap in the Tracer for where the Echo was. And
right, that's a hot take right there. I think you might be, but you might be onto something. Oh my god, D.Va Zarya, who would have thought?
I like this from Pibble Platoon. I am personally a pretty big fan of these Vendetta compositions. I think that having the timing on the aggression really does lend to how strong synergy a team will have, and Pibble Platoon has been showing a pretty good understanding of how each other plays in their timing, especially in those later maps on Ilios. So having Prime over on the Vendetta here, of course, when you're running this composition, it's all about those fast hits here. So Pibble Platoon can't really afford to stay around for a long time in these fights, and Play Group with Gangam over on this venture is gonna have a little bit better of a time when it comes to kind of these brawl components of the fights.
The main thing you don't want to do if you're Gangam is just feed Ghost Town infinite charge. Speaking of infinite charge, you don't need a lot to get out to draw very, very low. Already we're seeing just how deadly this Vendetta can be. Oh my, just cleaning up house. Such an aggressive playstyle. Does actually get caught out, I think, by the little baby D.Va pistol. But Pibble Platoon seem to be in control.
Yeah, that's exactly what you want if you're Pibble Platoon. It was a very, very quick fight. That was not dragged out at all here. You find your target, you assassinate it, you move on. So it is going to be a swap coming out from Play Group as How to Draw is moving over on to this Wrecking Ball. So this is about trying to disrupt this 1-2 punch that's coming in from Pibble Platoon. So Mitsuri's going to have to really adjust his playstyle on this Sojourn.
Yeah, I think you're playing this ball as well to try disrupt Ghost Town's, sights. You're trying to, make him look back to bubble the backline maybe if the Wrecking Ball's looking there, and the Vendetta won't get as much peel. And we're seeing that right now as the Vendetta goes down. Gangam is doing great so far on this venture into a brawlier composition like this. So much cleave damage with your weapon. You can just drill into absolutely everyone. And we're seeing that with the ult charge, nearly getting up to their ult there, Gangam.
Yeah, right? There's a lot of damage on the field for this venture here, and it's going to be some bot progress being gained for Play Group, but Pibble Platoon are going to be able to come back for the recontest. The problem is the Wrecking Ball forces a lot out, so it's good that Pibble Platoon get an opening pick.
Well, this is the kind of trade that you want, right? A tank for a support is a pretty good one. Prime is going to be able to follow up on a good amount of the damage. Brilliant catches them out. It's all about this neutral now. Who can live for the longest amount of time? Geo does find a pretty crucial pick, though. How to draw. You often don't die on this Wrecking Ball, but it's quite sad as you see all your teammates just die around you.
Yeah, you get your the nice boop from the Lucio, and it's just going to stop all the momentum from the Wrecking Ball. Is tectonic shock out here, maybe just creating some space for Gangnam to work with.
It's intimidation. It's intimidation, right? I don't think you understand. But yeah, we're seeing control coming back for Pibble Platoon. A nice kite, though, from Plate Group, looking for that regroup with their tank. And you got to wonder, with the ball, you just don't really have a lot of frontline presence, right? You don't have as much to go into, and Gangnam a lot of the time is on their own.
This is the Wrecking Ball comp. You also need to play pretty quick here. You need to try and find this aggression. Oh no, the grab goes wide, but it's okay. The Vendetta's there to do the damage.
Hey, the Grav just makes the space, and the Vendetta does the rest, apparently. Prime just making Vendetta look so easy. I promise you guys, it's not actually that easy of a hero. Prime just makes it look very, very easy.
I think especially because she did get a tiny little bit of a damage nerf on that overhead swing, so you're not going to have a one-shot combo anymore, so you really do have to be careful about those engages. But Pibble Platoon picking up that forward checkpoint, and ooh, okay, Prime getting a little aggressive though. So if you're Pibble Platoon, I think right now you want to back up because you do still have that forward spawn.
Ooh, mines aren't really good to back up through. They do actually get out pretty well. Big Shrimpin finding that pick onto their Lucio counterpart. And I really like the switch from Gangnam going onto this Tracer. It's unbanned now, and it has fantastic synergy with the Wrecking Ball still aggressing forward, trying to force out Ghost Town's bubbles. None to the man's name right now. Health getting a little lower, manages to group up, and Matsuri gets the pick to go back into the fight.
Yeah, and now the forward spawn was taken away from Pibble Platoon, but everybody's here ready to go. Kitsune Rush and this overclock have to be committed. Playgroup don't want to give this up.
Okay, that's one for Balerion, going around the back, looking for more. Finds two, Suzu out. Ooh, just missing the Lucio barely, but great stuff there. They commit the beat as well, maybe trying to force that one out from Pibble Platoon, and it's still looking like a pretty even fight. Prime with the overhealth and the armor. Yeah, your little tiny shots there aren't going to do anything. Have the ult there too, and the bubble. Yeah, I mean, we're just seeing fights swing back in the favor of Pibble Platoon so frequently because of Matsuri and Prime just straight popping off.
Yeah, the Prime cannot be allowed to stay alive this long in these fights. That Vendetta between the block that's keeping the damage away, and then the damage that's being put out by the Vendetta. Playgroup, I like that Gangnam is over on this Tracer, like you mentioned, great synergy, but having a hard time, I think, finding that opening pick, and it is because you're just not getting the timing with the pile drive from the Wrecking Ball.
Yeah, and now you're kind of both following up, just shooting at the same target. They do manage to find Geo that way, but that frontline presence, like we've said, the Zarya and the Vendetta is so scary. Even though you're a highly mobile frontline with the Wrecking Ball and Tracer, you just do not have that punching power.
Now it is going to be a Pibble Platoon extending this lead. The recall forced out, so Gangnam trying to stay alive for a little bit. It is only 2 from Pibble Platoon, and they're going to commit into this.
They are. I mean, the problem with trying to use a Vendetta ult there is that Playgroup are pretty split up on this ball comp. You're probably not going to find anything. The space was made, though. How to draw going in with a space maker ult of his own. There goes the mines. Trying to force out the bubbles. There goes one. Dr. Richthofen getting taken out. Going from the back. Slamming onto the Venture. I mean, this is just Wrecking Ball ASMR right now, to be honest. And Gangnam's doing a great job of following up on that. And there we go. A more concise fight win there for Playgroup. A bit more decisive.
Yeah, I have to agree. I do think that we're seeing the synergy building here between the Tracer and the Wrecking Ball, and I like that How to Draw is hitting from multiple different angles very, very quickly. You are not staying and taking this frontline fight. You're going over the roof. You're popping up in places where Pibble Platoon isn't expecting you, and then Gangnam doing a good job following up on that damage. His grab is coming online for Ghost Town, but you mentioned how split Playgroup is, and yeah, all the angles, all the damage onto that Zarya.
Yeah, I mean, you're trying to look around, see who do I shoot, who do I contest. They're all over, mate. I'm sorry. They're all over. And yeah, we're really, like you said, the synergy between How to Draw and Gangnam has really stepped up a notch. And generally, the Wrecking Ball play, the uptime is so important. How to Draw seems to be getting better and better as this map goes on. There's the grab. Going out, and somehow the Ampure sustained Shrimp through that. Not for too long, though, as backline is gone. A really good push here, though, from Playgroup as the fight cleans up. They're almost even with 3 minutes remaining.
Yeah, and crucially, Playgroup did not gain the lead there. It was very, very close, but Pibble Platoon managed to hold on. The forward spawn is going to be there for Playgroup, though, so they're going to be able to get back into things pretty quickly here. Both support ults ready to go for Pibble Platoon to try and live through this overclock that's coming through, and with Jinx having this Kitsune Rush, I'm expecting we're going to see the dueling Kitsune Rushes, so it really comes down to these overclocks.
Yep, and here comes the first. Balerion looking for the pick, but Prime Belly gets away. Full up is had. There's one shot onto the Tracer, but now on the latter half of this fight, the overclock comes out, the Beast to sustain it as well, and Shrimp just does not have the sound barrier to match. We're seeing Jinx coming out with the rush as well, just ults being thrown down onto the field. And it looks like Play Group seem to be coming out on top. I mean, the ball is great at sustaining in this fight, but no, I mean, it's all over the place, right? I'm losing my bloody train of thought.
The mines to try and clean this up. Playgroup do not want any more lead to be gained here for Pibble Platoon, but Pibble Platoon do still have the numbers. However, Playgroup's doing a fantastic job of splitting them up, and as soon as that happens, Ghost Town gets taken down. As soon as you force those Zarya bubbles out, it's really Playgroup doing a good job kind of finding that a limb here. So they will get back in control of this. The forward spawn, though, is going to be acquired by Ghost Town, so isn't going to have too far of a walk, which does mean, again, it's going to be a quick fight kind of at these slopes here. The Kitsune Rush was used by Playgroup, so Gio's going to have the advantage.
Yep. Here it goes. Dr. Rickhoffen does fall in this early in the fight, but the rush with this ball comp is just so valuable. Now Prime coming online with their ultimate is going to be really valuable, but they actually do find the trade onto Jinx there. Ooh, Prime chasing Valerian down, manages to get out just about. And it's really messy. We're seeing Playgroup trying to chase down members of Pibble Platoon while their front line is just staying statically strong on point and pushing the bot forward.
Yeah, and that means that Playgroup are having a really hard time kind of gaining any momentum in this push type. Now, you do get the trades out for both Lucios. That's big for Pibble Platoon because that means the beat is gone for Playgroup, but How to Draw is still alive, so you're still in this fight if you're Playgroup.
Ooh, and Gangnam just gave Ghost Town the free charge of his lifetime with that pulse bomb. That was very nice of him. Yeah, I mean, How to Draw has somehow been able to live in the past, I think 3 or 4 fights, just not really going down, finding trades here and there, but it's just not decisive enough. You're not finding the strong fight wins. And now we're looking at 15 seconds left. You're still behind. You have to push all the way around to the mirrored side of the map. All you have is the beat and this grav. You've got the rush, nearly. You've nearly got the beat too. Here comes the grav to come out. The beat is there to sustain. They're coming through the combo, but they actually get taken out. Gangnam managed to get the trade there. Matsuri does find the Tracer though. Ghost Town strong on this front line, and now he's got a beat to keep him up as well. All these movement cooldowns have been burnt from Playgroup, and it is just a lone hamster, as it tends to go in these Wrecking Ball compositions, left on point.
Yeah.
And it was a close one.
Aww.
It was a much closer look here. But Pibble Platoon, man.
I'm impressed, honestly. Fantastic job, especially just in that last fight. The mines come out onto the bot, or onto where the bot is, approaching that checkpoint, but Pibble Platoon know that they are already in the lead. They immediately back up. Nobody is caught in those mines, which means that you don't have them for that overtime fight where they can be most impactful. So a great disengage there from Pibble Platoon, and that is going to be them setting themselves at a series point here. This is very impressive for Pibble Platoon. They have doubled the amount of map losses that Playgroup have had so far in these 3 weeks of play. So Playgroup are going to have to really dig deep here because now if they want to win out this series, they're looking at a reverse sweep.
Yeah, and look, we've seen that they've been undefeated, right? That can't really be ignored. If there's any team that is going to be able to reverse sweep, if we're looking at the history, if we're looking at the stats, Playgroup should be able to win it out. We're just seeing a bit of, you know, not a lot of cohesion in their comps. We saw some glimmers of it, you know, How to Draw and Gangnam really did have a lot of great moments there on the Wrecking Ball and the Tracer, but Pibble Platoon just stood strong on that front line. Ghost Town really did not die as much as he should have been. And these angles on this ball composition, you need to be using them so much better to kind of pressure out this Zarya, and we didn't really see that as much as we should.
No, and I think that especially when you're running that Wrecking Ball comp, you need to be getting set up on those angles a little bit faster here, because we were seeing Pibble Platoon kind of respond as soon as they saw that there were angles and everybody from the side of Playgroup were all over the place. That's when you're rushing on one of those targets that is split. So good use of that Vendetta Zarya composition from the side of Pibble Platoon. We'll have to see if they decide to stick with that. We are going to go over to a quick break, but we're going to be back with map number 3 after this, so we'll see if Playgroup can turn things around. Okay, welcome back. A nice quick break as promised, because we need to get back into this EU Masters action here. Pibble Platoon currently up 2-0 against the undefeated Plate Group here, and now Plate Group back against the wall. They need to find something in this third map to stay alive in the series.
Yeah, I mean, Rain, I needed a break as well. I was getting a little flustered at just how good Pibble Platoon are looking. I mean, we talked at the start of this series about mechanics. Ghost Town has just surpassed all expectations on the Diva, especially on Ilios. But then just holding the front line so well, and not even just the mechanics, but the game sense of really came through and shined of Ghost just being able to live, being able to play around the wrecking ball really, really well. And yeah, Plate Group are kind of up against the wall right now. And being undefeated, really not what we expected. The real question is, what map do they go to? What heroes are they going to try play? You know, what are they expecting Pibble Platoon to play as well? You know, all these things, if the bans come through and they're very effective, if their map choice is effective, that could really be the saving grace for Plate Group. That kind of gets them that momentum coming again. They can snowball with it and they can maybe reverse sweep. But I mean, Pibble looking pretty good. That'll be hard.
Yeah, it is. It's so tough because for Plate Group, I mean, in that last map, Runasapi, definitely the Vendetta Zarya comp, giving Plate Group a lot of trouble here. But the thing is, if you ban out the Vendetta now, that means you're not going to have it for the next hero bans that come in map number 4, map number 5, if you're able to get there. So it's tough because Plate Group have a lot going against them when you try to do any of these reverse sweeps, because this is also going to be Plate Group's last map pick. If they're able to win this one, all of the rest of the maps in the series are going to go over to Pibble Platoon. So I think if you're Plate Group right now, you probably want to try and take yourselves to a map where you're going to be able to just have a bit of advantage with the architecture of the map. Maybe try and save some of those really impactful bans for later on in the series when you think you really need it. So of course we aren't going to be able to go over to Control or over onto Push. So that does leave us with the hybrid escort option, which I had mentioned earlier can really change up the pace of things here, and I feel like Plate Group really should lean into trying to change the tempo that's happening right now, because Pibble Platoon have been moving quick and they've been very decisive in these opening fights.
Yeah, take a chill pill, slow things down just a little bit. And we actually saw them kind of doing the opposite, really, when you think about it, on Runasapi, trying to force this wrecking ball. I just don't think it worked. And we, like we said, we saw glimpses of that. Gungam and, that front line really doing a good job. How to Draw had some really good high uptime fights on the wrecking ball, but it just didn't click. Maybe you want to slow things down. We did see people ban out the Ramatra. Maybe you want to lean into that. I mean, it's not a super common pick, but that gives you a little bit more time to kind of, play a block simulator on a corner. Really take things slow. Have these long drawn out fights where hopefully you're forcing the cooldowns and you're playing a little bit more for the game sense rather than for the mechanics like you are going to be doing on a wrecking ball comp or a dive comp like that.
It's a really good point, because we haven't really seen Ghost Town play a whole lot other than that Diva and Zarya, so might have a little bit harder of a time if there is that really hard front to back composition that comes out, whether it's the Ramatra, maybe a Reinhardt. It's been known to happen, but kind of leaning into putting a bit more pressure on Ghost Town, I think, on the tank could be very helpful here for Plate Group, as well, they do know at least where we are going to be going for map number 3. I don't expect any Reinhardt. We are going to be heading over to Gibraltar, so sending us over onto this escort map.
I'm a little bit flabbergasted by this, Rain. I did not expect that. I like we were talking about, I thought if you're Plate Group, you maybe want to slow the pace down. But they say, absolutely not, full steam ahead. Maybe they keep going with the wrecking ball. Tracer's obviously still open. Gungam was looking pretty good, I think, on the Tracer. That can really be a key piece of the puzzle moving forward. Haven't really seen any signs of maybe a Winston. Winston's already been played a ton. We're mostly seeing the Diva. And, How to Draw looked really good at the start of Ilios. And it honestly, throughout Ilios, did look very consistent on the Diva. and now they don't have the Tracer ban. So maybe you want to lean into that. I think maybe. I think yes.
I can see it. I can see it. I feel like Playgroup, though, I don't know if I'd want to go here again, go to Watchpoint Gibraltar against Ghost Town on this Diva. So potentially you want to go for that Diva ban so that you aren't forced into that matchup. Then you will also have a little bit easier of a time running this Wrecking Ball if you do decide to go that route, like you mentioned. Not necessarily seeing a whole lot of Winston here. So it was Pibble that banned out the Tracer in Ilios as well. So Playgroup do still have that ban available to them, but yeah, it is gonna be the Diva ban.
Okay, yeah, I think yeah, the writing was on the wall. Get Ghost Town's Diva as far away from this series point as humanly possible. So we might actually see a bit of Winston. More likely the Wrecking Ball, as we saw on Runisapi, but with the glimmers of hope we saw on this Wrecking Ball comp, and with the Diva band, it is durable. I think where the rest, the last kind of pieces of the puzzle kind of fit in, is kind of what the rest of Playgroup are going to try to do. Maybe Pibble Platoon are going to look to disable that. They actually banned the Freya. Interesting. We did see some Freya from Playgroup. So.
Yeah, over on Ilios, and I feel like the Freya is in a pretty good position. Lots of long-range damage and really consistent damage. You don't really need to allow for the same setup time on a Freya that you would for, say, a Sojourn. So Freya can do a really fantastic job at forcing out a Winston. It's a lot of burst damage that can come at you all at once here, and of course, without Diva on the field, there's not really going to be an opportunity to eat up any of that damage. So I think that the Freya might be the right ban here. As we can see, no substitutions here. So despite both teams having that kind of depth of rosters outside of the starters, locked in on these rosters that we've been seeing for the entire series so far. So I'm excited to see what Playgroup are cooking up to try and turn things around here.
Wait, are we in 2023 OWCS? Am I seeing Winston Divemare with Anna Brig?
Brig Anna back into our hearts. Oh my
I feel
goodness.
like what a blast from the past. Wow. I'm getting teary-eyed, honestly. Yeah, no, this is kind of our classic dive, and it's all about these kind of big moving pieces, right? With like the Nano Winston, and like the rally to disable like Nano Winston and the Diva dives and stuff. So it's really about who can really use those parts of the puzzle better. Ooh, that's an anti.
Yeah, that was a read. That was a great read.
Yeah. Oof. I mean, what else to say? Yeah, big anti-nade coming there from Jinx. It's such a common play as well to have the backline TP'd over, so might as well take advantage of it, right?
Yeah, you had the positioning ready to go there if you're a Playgroup, so good stuff. It is going to be prime swapping over onto the Genji here, so I like this from Pibble Platoon. Not going to opt to match over on that Sojourn. Instead, you're going all in on kind of this aggressive front line that has all the mobility to work with.
Yeah, Matsuri and Gangnam. Matsuri, as we've said, very, very good mechanically. Gangnam looks really, really good in terms of that kind of hero knowledge on the Tracer, so it will be an interesting duel to see kind of pan out over the course of this map. Great shots coming there from Balerion, and the follow-up is nearly had, but a really, really good sleep. Great defensive cooldowns used very well from the backline Pibble Platoon there.
You can see Pibble Platoon are trying to rotate this Ana and Brig up and going for these anti-nades and...
Oh, there's another aid!
Gio
These Anas!
So good with them!
Yeah, I mean, these Anas just trading back and forth, these nades that are opening up fights. How to Draw does manage to find the exit pick there onto Prime. They're going to have to back up a little bit. They are one man down. But still, not a lot of space being able to be created here from Pibble Platoon. They're kind of struggling on that end.
Yeah, and I think when you're looking at the matchup of the Sojourn versus the Genji here, there is a lot more pressure on Gio to find these opening anti-nades, because that's the follow-up that you're going on. You're trying to gauge this with the Genji so you can get those dash resets. Meanwhile, for Playgroup, it's nice to get those antis, but it's really Valerian that's going to open things for you.
Why'd you take the granny's head off? I mean, come on, she's just about to retire. That's so rude. Her pension's gone now. Yeah, like you said, having both the rail shots and the nades from the Ana to follow up on. I mean, How to Draw is just having a great time. So much damage to follow up on. And Matsuri just falling on the floor. That's unfortunate. Quite a position there.
Yeah, and Now it's going to be Pibble Platoon in a little bit of an awkward spot here. The cart is in that kind of car wash area, so you're forced to try and rotate up onto this high ground, but Playgroup pretty much have the high ground on lock, and they've got the ultimates to make sure that they hold on to it. Mitsuri is going to swap over onto the Widow here. Might be able to catch Playgroup off guard if he moves quickly.
Yeah, Shrimpin not having this rally, though. You want to go fast with this nano engagement. Suri finds a great opening pick onto the break. And now, if you are Pibble Platoon, you want to go as aggressive as you can from here. We're already seeing, though, how to draw, recognizing this is going to try to disrupt the backline just a little bit. Throwing around the Widowmaker, throwing around the Ana, landing those pummels. Is going to get stunned out. Manages to barely get out with that life. I didn't think it was monkeys that had 9 lives sprain. I thought it was cats.
We learn something new every day here. And Playgroup still holding on to some crucial ultimates. Mitsuri not necessarily has with the space to really find these openings. You can see everybody from Playgroup is more or less just kind of hiding back. You've got your support set up over in the server room here. So Pibble Platoon, they have this Nano Blade nearly ready to go here. And that rally from Big Shrimp, and like you mentioned, not online. So right now it's just a waiting game. But no, it's actually going to need the Nano Winston to open things.
Yeah, still holding off on the Nano Jinx, and somehow not really finding any opening kicks. We're going to see the defensive Nano onto Shrimpin, who now can charge up the rally. Single rally mirrored, great stun there, not allowing. Goes to find the follow-up kill. The backline of Playgroup are just barely living things out. This cooldown management is just world-class.
I'm so impressed by how these two supports are able to peel for each other. Pibble Platoon, though, want to stay in this fight. They're going to commit the blade. Okay, he finds one. Pibble Platoon need to find more, though.
Oh.
Oh, no.
Maybe they need to find the point.
No.
They need to find the point. Yeah, I'm really shocked, actually. You know, going on to Gibraltar, a map which is, you know, you really want to be aggressive. With dive compositions, you'd really expect that to be Pibble Platoon's kind of, you know, stomping grounds. But Playgroup clearly know how to play this map to perfection. We saw so many good plays. Balerion really opening things up, as well as the anti-nades from Jinx. And as we said, I really think the stars of the show on this defense is Jinx and Shrimpin on this backline. No one could even get close to, you know, to get taking them down. It was really impressive stuff.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. It's so important if you're running this on a break composition. This is about the supports kind of peeling for each other here, and Pibble Platoon were never able to find that opening, even when you had the Genji, the Tracer, the Winston, all super mobile heroes that are really kind of designed to go and collapse on these supports. But great stuff from Big Shrimpin and Best Jinx to stay alive through those engagements, and now this is looking very difficult for Pibble Platoon to try and close things out here. You don't even get the first point cap, and gonna swap some things up here to try and make it very tough for Playgroup to push in, as Prime's gonna move over onto the Reaper here. We definitely do not see the Reaper very often here on Gibraltar, so you're gonna have to be really set up and ready to go for these anti-dives, anticipating that, yeah, How to Draw is still over on this Winston. It's gonna be a TP out for Playgroup as well. Ooh, okay, a little
bit of a variation. Okay. Yeah, I think that was to dodge the nade. We like that on the fly, changing things up. Good stuff there from Playgroup on this attack. And yeah, Prime on this Reaper, it's an interesting pick. You know, you're trying to deter how to draw from diving, but I feel like the real issue here is Balerion and Jinx, you know, opening fights up really well. That's a good opener to the fight. Geo finds a sleep, and Mitsuri opening things up nicely. So already on the defense, we're seeing a little bit more confidence from Pibble Platoon.
Ooh, it's going to be the Pibble Platoon trying to rotate down, stop any of this cart progress coming for free. They're going to make Playgroup fight for every single meter here, but now, unfortunately, everybody is on the low ground here, so Pibble Platoon are going to be forced into an early rotation, which is going to open up an opportunity for Playgroup to take this high ground.
Yep, health draw going nice and aggressive, but you're facing down the barrel of, actually, 2 barrels. Shotgun barrels. There's a Reaper in your face. Mitsuri opens things up very, very nicely. And it just seems that our teams here are just so much more comfortable on the defense. Balerion does manage to find a trade. Seen good things. And again, in the exact same spot, How to Draw has been slept.
Gonna be getting, yeah, slept quite often here if Geo has anything to say about it. Now, the payload's still inching forward here, but this is a good spot for Prime to be in this Reaper. It's going to be so hard for Playgroup to take a fight down there. Now, not any ultimates on the board just yet, but these Anas are getting very close to the Nanos. We've seen them go over onto the Winston time and time again. Geo would love to be able to get that online first.
Yeah, I think if you have to draw here, you got to stop playing this front line. Prime is just going to be able to charge that Blossom so quickly off of you. You have to play for those deep high grounds, not really try push too aggressively, just get those deep positions first, and then stage from there. You can rely on Gangnam on that Trace to set up. And yeah, just kind of sitting up on that high ground, taking bullet after bullet. Gets out barely with their life. I take that back. They go down. And Prime should not be this much of an issue, but is proving very challenging for how to draw to get through.
Yeah, and I think right now, if you're Playgroup, okay, finding the kill on to Ghost Town is a great start here. You still need to push this payload a little bit further here, so Pibble Platoon are going to have to commit something into this to try and stabilize here. I think Gangnam over on this Tracer, as we do have the request for a pause coming through, I think Gangnam over on this Tracer needs to do a little bit more work in trying to actually create space for how to draw, which seems a little bit counterintuitive. Usually it is going to be your tank that's kind of pushing forward and making the space, but like you mentioned, we're seeing kind of Playgroup dive up onto this high ground right into the face of the Reaper. So what I think we should be seeing how to draw do is take a little bit more patience with that dive, allow Gangnam to get on an angle before you go in for the engage so that the Tracer can actually take some of that pressure away from the front line. Because like you said, there's 2 shotguns that are just pummeling down this Winston, so he's not really able to stay alive. It's brutal.
Yeah, and it's kind of uncharacteristic. We saw a lot of patience on their defense, looking for the follow-up off of the rails, off of the nades. Both Arnas now coming up to the nano boost. These are the key parts to these fight. Jinx already falling low. Outdraw's got the nano on them. Wraithform forced out. Now going deep onto the backline. Matsuri down. That's Geo down 2. 2 down to the nanoed monkey. Primal now up 2. The sustain in this fight will be good. Prime managed to find 1, and the trades are coming through. Prime slept. Playgroup. They find it. The rally to secure it off. And they actually manage to claw things back, Rain. The reverse sweep, it's here.
This is a big momentum shift as well. This wasn't really a close Gibraltar. We did see Playgroup get hung up a little bit here. Nice strong defense from Pibble Platoon, but it was not a very long distance that they had to push this payload, and that is due to the stellar defense that they put up here. So this is a great thing for Playgroup, but we mentioned it before we headed in to Gibraltar. It's still an uphill battle here because now it is going to be Pibble Platoon back in control of the map pick here, and they have a pretty good read now of what composition Playgroup is more comfortable on, where they have this on a break. They're able to be a little bit more patient kind of with these engages, set up cleaner dives. So now being in control of the map pick, you could really tailor it to try and shut that comp down.
Yeah, I mean, when we were opening up in this series, we were really kind of setting the foundation for the fact that Pibble Platoon, they are our, mechanically intensive team. They're going to click your heads. And on the other side of the coin, or plate group, were kind of more centered around that team play and kind of the game knowledge. And playing this on a break dive, it is all about that. I'm going to shout out the backline again as a support player because, I just cannot overstate how good the cooldown rotation in Plate's backline was. On their defense, I don't think either of them died, which is incredibly impressive. Like you said, we saw them, kind of lose their footing a little bit on the attack. But, maybe if you are Pibble, you not only want to pick a map where they will struggle to play the dive, maybe you flat out ban the Winston, because it wasn't really close, to be honest. How to draw, other than that first little bit of the attack, was really, really coming out on top. And you can force the monkey and the honor break if you really want. You could probably force it on a lot of maps. So maybe you just want to go straight for the throat and ban the Winston.
I totally agree. I think that if the D.Va had not been banned out on Gibraltar, we would have had a different map on our hands for sure here. So excellent ban coming through from Playgroup. Really good read on what Pibble Platoon have been most comfortable on. So we are getting down to the nitty and gritty here of maps that can be selected, because we aren't going to be able to replay any of those map modes that have already happened, which does mean that there are 2 options. We are either going to be going over to an escort map or over on to a flash Flashpoint map here, and I think both of them kind of on either end of the spectrum of the way that we typically see things played. For a lot of these escort maps, you're really leaning heavily into your DPS. You're trying to set them up, go for these engages, and I think that over on the other side of sorry, a hybrid map. Just kidding. We already played an escort, but it's about kind of setting your DPS up here. Same thing. It's all cards. But if you go over onto Flashpoint, it's a lot more about kind of controlling that space, so it's a lot more pressure on the tanks here. So Pibble Platoon have a very big decision to make about what playstyle they want to lean into.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I think if you are Pibble Platoon, if I was Pibble Platoon, and having played against them, a lot of what they do when they are backed into a corner, they pick a map where they can enable their DPS, because their DPS, Mitsuri and Prime, their starters, are incredibly good, incredibly mechanically talented. You put them on a, let's say, Blizzard world, where you can maybe enable the poke a little bit more. You put Mitsuri on that Ashe, on the Sojin, he will dominate. He will be the lobby admin. I promise you that. So maybe you want to go for that map, that kind of map. Actually, maybe not. Maybe not.
All right. Well, we know where we're going for map number 4. It's a hybrid map. You were bang on. It is going to be King's Row selected here, so maybe not Blizzard World, but still, like you mentioned, you're going to be able to play this kind of the same way, especially on that first point of King's Row, where you have the high ground behind the point. You're going to be able to get your DPS set up there comfortably if you're on the defense, and if you're on the attack, you are looking to get control of that high ground as fast as possible so that you can set up your own DPS there.
Yeah, I'm a little nervous to see Mitsuri set up on that first point defense on the back high ground. And yeah, I mean, that's kind of the way you want to be playing this map, I think, if you're Pibble Platoon. But really, plate group coming alive, on that Winston comp, we have seen in the past when the Winston, the Ana Brig, has been extremely dominant. We've seen it be played on King's Row, and I think especially on first point, especially on third point, it is actually surprisingly viable. We actually have good high grounds that the Winston can stage onto. We have good rotations that the Ana and Brig can make safe rotations on first point. That back right route is really, really effective to set up your backline there. Probably with a TP as well, like we saw on Gibraltar. So if you're Pibble Platoon, I think you're maybe expecting something like that from plate group here.
All right, so that means that Pibble Platoon are going to have to anticipate what ban is going to be most impactful into that. Are they concerned that the Ana is going to make another appearance, that they're going to have to deal with this really strong backline? Maybe if you're planning to run this D.Va, you want to take out something that's going to be very detrimental to the D.Va. Maybe a Zarya ban could come out here. So lots for Pibble Platoon to deal with. It is going to be the Venture ban, though. So we did see that Venture briefly. So taking them out of the map here, it's going to allow you to have a little bit less pressure kind of on your supports and also on your front line. The Venture is able to put out a lot of burst damage and have that survivability to control an angle.
I'm actually kind of surprised a little bit by the Venture ban, because as we're on King's Row, you're kind of expecting Pibble Platoon, if they're not going to be playing something a lot pokier, they might be playing the Zarya, and I feel like the Venture maybe plays into their hand a little bit. Zarya can, the explosion radius of Venture's weapon is quite wide, so Zarya can actually catch a lot of stray bullets, and, well, there you go. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's totally fair. Ghost Town would be very, very scary to face up against on King's Row on the Zarya. We might see the D.Va then. We might actually just see Dive Mirror here.
I'm kind of thinking the same thing, which is so surprising that we're going into King's Row and that we're anticipating might be a Dive Mirror here. I do think that the Zarya ban for plate group is really strong, not just in that Ghost Town is terrifying on the Zarya, but also that Ghost Town was really enabling the Vendetta as well, which you could definitely play the Vendetta here on King's Row. Has a great access to that high ground, and you're able to support the front line for those front to back compositions as well. So taking a crucial component out, it's not impossible to play the Vendetta without the Zarya, but it definitely does make it a lot easier to punish that hero here. So I do expect that, yeah, we could end up back over on these D.Va compositions. Soj Tracer, mayhaps. Definitely, I think that we're not going to get anything super surprising here on King's Row. I feel like both of these teams are going to be leaning into compositions that they've already shown us.
Yeah, pretty likely. I imagine we're going to be seeing our D.Va shenanigans, you know, as we saw in the opening maps. And actually, I was just thinking, you know, this Zarya ban coming out this late, that is pretty scary for Pibble Platoon, that they are now having the momentum taken out of their hands, and one of, if not their strongest picks for Ghost Town on this map has been snatched right from under their nose. It's going to be a very effective ban. Playgroup in the last couple of maps have been very effective with their bans. Looking like a Bastion from Mitsuri out, opening on the defense. Okay, excited to see that.
Ghost Town gonna be over on the Domina here as well. So I love watching Domina gameplay, cycling through these cooldowns. You can get so much value, but feels like it's a high risk, high reward here because she can be walked over quite easily, especially if How to Draw does stick on this Ramatra here. So Pibble Platoon are gonna have to make really good use of these teleporters from Prime to make sure that Ghost Town can always keep some distance from that front line. You don't want to be taking the head-on brawls here if you're the Domina, so I'm excited to see what this Bastion Sim composition is going to be able to cook up on the defense here. But Playgroup on the offense, I said that we weren't going to see some different compositions, and both these teams throwing out some heroes we have not seen yet. Gangam over on the Mei here, so this is a lot of frontline presence here for Playgroup. They really just need to catch Ghost Town out.
Yeah, the TP will make that a little bit more difficult. Already, repulsors on this close range map are a little bit scary. The damage can really ramp up when you're facing down Domina. Already going in nice and aggressive. The Ramatra, How to Draw, getting Ghost Town really low. Not having that armor health on the Domina is actually really scary when you're taking that tank brawl. The Ramatra really does have the advantage here. And now, also with Valerion on the high ground, you know, Pibble Platoon, they're kind of running out of options.
Yeah, we mentioned that this high ground is so important to be controlled, but everybody from Pibble Platoon was set up on that low ground, so it was free access here for Playgroup to get up onto that high ground, and yeah, they're going to start getting some percentage on the point here. Pibble Platoon right now just looking to have everybody regroup. I don't expect that you go in for the recontest here. Mitsuri is going to swap over on to the Sojourn here, and yeah, it's going to be Pibble Platoon looking to just take a fight at this choke point here. Playgroup already have this Blizzard online ready to go here for Gangam, so I think the Pibble Platoon are going to be in for a bit of a surprise in this fight.
Yep, there comes the Blizzard. Really nice and aggressive. Suzu is good, but Ghost Town is still very low, but they're stabilizing on point. Here comes the Panopticon, and it's really big. It catches 3, and Matsuri is there to follow up. Such a strong ultimate, just able to disable the entire enemy team with a click of the button.
It's a fantastic ult coming through there from Ghost Town. On these, like, streets phases types of maps as well, it's just gonna go in a straight line as long as you don't get it caught on the shield or on the Mei wall. It's pretty much free damage here, and Pibble Platoon are able to stabilize at this choke point. This is good for them where they do have Prime on this Symmetra, but you still have to be careful because Mei is going to be able to use this wall to kind of create space, and both these support ultimates and an overclock here for Playgroup.
Yep, looking to force that kite away. Now Tide coming in onto the Ramatra. Doesn't actually manage to knock anyone down over. We've got the Symbol coming through in the middle of the point, and that means that How to Draw is split. The healing can't come through, and now with the aggressive push from Pibble Platoon, he's split. Ramatra comes through, but it's a little too late. What a great wall there from Prime to split off the front line.
Yeah, really good Prime.
Giving a kiss to the front doors. Yeah, I love that.
Touch the spawn door challenge completed here. But yeah, I love that photon barrier from Prime, and that was a big investment here for Playgroup. We are going to see some swaps come out now. How to Draw over onto the Sigma, and then Jinx over on to this Kiriko, and it's going to be Big Shrimpet over on the Lucio here. So now you're looking to move fast. It's good that Playgroup are able to match the speed that Pibble Platoon have.
Interesting to be switching off of, like, onto the Lucio when you are switching off of the ball tank. Aggressive beat now coming through from Pibble Platoon, looking to punish this kind of dawdling fight here from Playgroup. They find Balerion, and yeah, Playgroup already struggling to make their way past that second corner there.
Yeah, and now Ghost Town has built up another Panopticon here, so Playgroup are going to be forced to walk through this choke point, potentially into a whole bunch of damage. You're going to have to be really careful about kind of cycling this Sigma shield, because that is going to be able to deny the value from Panopticon. But if you're Pibble Platoon right now, it's all about just like buying time, trying to make it as hard as possible for Playgroup to walk forward.
There it goes. Only finds... Oh, it finds two, actually, there. Onto the Kiriko and to the Sojourn. I mean, yeah. I mean, you just kind of have to fully kite, and if they find any follow-up damage from the Panopticon, you're kind of just dead. You're just a dead fish in the water. Sorry.
It's all over. Sent back to the spawn Playgroup. Regrouping here. They are going to have the Blizzard to work with. Didn't catch anyone the last time. You want to maybe try and wait out that amp speed or heals that comes out from Dr. Richtofen, because that was what was able to get Pibble Platoon out of the last one.
Ooh. Gangnam opening things up with a very nice icicle to the head of Prime and takes out Matsuri as well. Are these icicles on aimbot? What is going on here? They have the Blizzard if they really want it, but it's now in a 3v5 situation. They're actually forced to use the beat because How to Draw was so damn low. If you lose your Sigma in the tank trade there, you know, they could possibly swing things back. It is a pretty big investment, the beat, but was probably necessary.
Yeah, I agree. I think also considering that Dr. Richtofen is going to have the beat coming online, and now with these beats out of sync, it's going to be kind of really heavy investment from one team just to have kind of the ult of the beat come up and shut things down. But there's some progress being made finally here on the cart for Playgroup, and going to have 4 other ults for them to work with here. So Pibble Platoon coming up on some ults of their own as well. Prime going to have a lot of pressure to get another really good photon barrier to try and protect his team.
Dr. Richtofen, 1% off B as the Flux goes down. Just managed to catch the members of the team caught in it. Saves their little lives. The rush used there in that choke point, having to use it to kite away. And the frontline damage, the beam galore with the Symmetra and the Dominoes, just too much to handle. They managed to come a little bit back into this fight with the OC. Lots of pressure, lots of space. Symmetra Prime so low, but Matsuri's going to come to the aid of their Symmetra.
60 seconds. Not a lot of time here. Playgroup need to go for the reset very, very quickly. Where you going to get staggered out. How to Draw trying to get out alive here. Manages to get enough distance between himself and the rest of Pibble Platoon that he is going to be able to survive through that. But Pibble Platoon setting themselves, they're going to have this choke point to work with once again. Mitsuri is building up to this overclock, but it's really this Blizzard from Gangnam that's going to make the difference in this next fight. And even though there's only 30 seconds left, there's not actually that far for the payload to go. So if Playgroup are able to get a fight win here, they should be able to pick up this second checkpoint.
One aggressive, decisive fight with the Blizzard is all you need. It's cast down. It catches a good amount of people. That's 3 in the Blizzard. Gangnam fights 2 with the ice cream cone. And they're forced to kite back around behind the point, trying to look for touches. And it's just not going to happen. Really good stuff there from Gangnam, managing to claw their team all the way into 3rd point here on King's Row.
You needed the value from the Blizzard and absolutely found it. No time left, so they aren't going to have a whole lot to work with here in 3rd point. What? It's a good stagger kill. Maywall on the window, going to shut down that exit for Prime. So more space being gained here on the 3rd point for Playgroup. They've gone ahead, built up these 2 support ultimates and the Flux from How to Draw. Dr. Richtofen is not going to have the beat ready to go for the Flux this time. So we'll have to see if Pibble Platoon can try and just play split and avoid it.
Oh, it's an aggressive beat that comes in. It's going to be countered with the Kasuni Rush, but already Dr. Richtofen is taken out. There's the Flux to put the nail in the coffin. Matsuri being chased down by Sigma, who's now reigning over him on the high ground. Solo manages to get taken out, and on that high ground can now kite out How to Draw, and now they have the rush to go back into it. And a Panopticon is now out and doesn't manage to catch anyone. Ooh, there's the OC and still up with the rush. The fire rate of that thing is just terrifying. And you throw ults at the wall and you tend to get a point gap.
That's exactly what I'm thinking, Crumble. I mean, the Playgroup had the ults to work with here, and once you get into that kind of final few meters where you can just have your Kiriko and your Sojourn set up behind the point, you're forcing Pibble Platoon to play on the card and just eat the damage from long range here. So finishing out King's Row with 30 seconds is Playgroup. They're happy to not have finished that in overtime, and honestly, kind of a speed run through 3rd point, having gotten stuck up on the 2nd point for so long.
I mean, I guess consistency on this map isn't what they want. They're going for the drama, Rain. They want the drama. I am honestly really impressed with Gangnam on King's Row so far. We've seen the flexibility of the the flexibility between the Tracer and then the Venture and then over to the Mei. It's a lot of varying DPS playstyles and is really helping to enable that front line quite a lot. Entry picks with the Icicles. Generally, Plate Group looked a little shaky, like we said, on second point. But other than that, first point and third point were actually really, really fast. So if they can maybe, on their defense, get their positioning down a little bit better, we could be looking at a second point hold here. Or even a first point hold. We'll see.
Right? Maybe Delirion is over on this Sojourn here, so looking for those opening picks. Big Shrimpin' over on to the Wuyang, so you still have more kind of poke damage to come in. And How to Draw's going to be over on the D.Va here, so you can see that already the difference between these defenses, that Plate Group is looking to hold this high ground behind the point and deny that from Pibble Platoon on their attack.
Yeah, we've talked about how valuable this high ground is, and yeah, Plate Group, with that Wuyang especially, it's such a key factor on that backline. So much spam. And Prime, if you poke him out before he can get to the back line, he's going to really, really struggle. 70 health and a Dream manages to sustain to the thanks of their backline too, having to use that E there, though. They still have control of the high ground. Prime does find a lovely pick there onto Gangnam. They have stall potential here, but they kind of just gave out the point for free. 2 ticks for absolutely nothing. That's a bargain.
Right, and that's the thing. If you're controlling this high ground, when you have the D.Va, it's the D.Va that has to kind of drop down onto it. And although Domina isn't really great at these frontline fights, when you're up against a D.Va and you have a shield and you have a beam that's going to go right through that defense matrix, it is going to be the Domina that's going to win out in those frontline fights. So once Pibble Platoon were able to get themselves set up on the point, they're playing very close to the wall, so that Plate Group have a very hard time getting that damage down onto them. That is a pretty quick first point cap here as Pibble Platoon starting to move this forward. Looks like everybody from Plate Group did get the forward spawn here, so they're going to have an opportunity to take an early fight and try and stop this cart from gaining too much space here on second.
Yeah, Suzu already forced that Vendetta. It's so scary. You're scared your entire team is going to get slashed down upon already. Gangnam forced to use that ice block to sustain up. And this car progress is just going by in the blink of an eye. Good peel there, though, from How to Draw. But this D.Va is really, really going to struggle against the cleave of the Vendetta. And against, like you said, those beams on this tight corridor of second point. There's the rush coming out. And now Ghost Town can go to their aggressive play style, as we've seen many times before. Oh, it's trying to be used in an attempt to stall things out, but Plate Group are really struggling here.
Yeah, it feels like they are kind of fumbling a little bit, trying to find something to slow things down. Gonna commit the bomb as well. How to Draw is able to get back into the mech, but he's the only one alive for the side of Plate Group. Is gonna get immediately demacked here, and there is not even going to be a touch that comes through. Pibble Platoon are setting a record pace here, and they only committed that Kitsune rush into the last fight. This is going to force Plate Group to make some swaps of How to Draw and pull out the Domina himself.
Yeah, I think the D.Va just was not a very good pick into the Domina. Like you said, the beam, it's like you're just going against a full energy Symmetra pretty much on the front line. And, I mean, you D.Va players will know that's pretty terrifying. There comes out the Panoptic, and it's everyone, 5 members, every single person on the Plate Group side sent to the dishwasher and back. That was a dirty play from Ghost Town. Oh my.
Yeah, that is a very, very big ult. The team kill coming through here does mean that everybody from Plate Group is going to be able to get back in for one last contest here. You have the Blizzard, which could be one of the better ultimates to use in this overtime fight.
It'll open up with the OCs on either side. Miracle has to get out, though. Has to respect that Vendetta. Now with the beat 2, that's really such a key ultimate here. They can just all stand on point, and there is absolutely nothing that Plate Group can do about it. It's only a matter of time until they fall. And almost 5 minutes. Oh, that's rough. That's real rough.
That's gotta be a little bit demoralizing here. For Plate Group that fought tooth and nail to get to the end of King's Row. Now they are going to be bumped up at least to a minute as we head into the overtime rounds, but yeah, nearly 5 minutes to work with here. Pibble Platoon, this combination
the
Panopticon, I mean,
the 5-man,
incredible amount of damage being done, and really excellent follow-up as well. It's not often that you're going to see Panopticon kind of find those final blows, but when you have Mitsuri and you have Prime as your DPS lineup, you got the follow-up damage ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we've seen from Prime throughout the series when he's been on the Vendetta, is just a really good understanding of when to go in and when to go out. And with the Panopticon, like we just saw in that replay there, you just can't escape it. You can't even shoot at the Vendetta that's right in your face, that's sapping the life out of you. Play group may be looking to go for a bit of a Hail Mary here. I'm probably getting caster cursed here though. I doubt we're gonna see the Reinhardt.
Okay, but I kind of feel like we probably could. Because,
did I get counter caster cursed?
It cancels itself out because Reinhardt actually plays quite well into this Domina, especially where you have Gangnam over on this Mei. This is really about taking down the Domina first in these fights, so Playgroup need to try and find the split onto Ghost Town here before Prime is able to really get up on this angle and do the damage.
Yeah, I do worry about Balorian, you know, getting taken out pretty easy by Mitsuri and Prime, but already that is the fruits of your labor there, Rain, because immediately in this fight, Ghost Town was taken down. The follow-up, as we've said, is so good from Prime, but it's back and forth, and Gangnam is still front and center. 300 HP essentially makes you a tank, and that front line stays strong as the point starts to tick up.
Not quite a tick on, though, as Mitsuri's going to send Valerion back, and now 15 seconds to work with. Playgroup are going to be forced into a very scrappy last fight. They're going to have to go into it without their Freya.
Yeah, if Gangnam can get this Blizzard online, it will be incredibly great for the side of Plate Group. And Prime already taken down. This is really, really good here. Now you don't have to worry about your Black Line getting taken out. Jill is taken out. No Suzu. No Rush that could possibly come online. But How to Draw is having to dance around this Diva.
They've done it.
Yep, they've done it. They've actually capped the point.
It's in overtime.
I'm sorry that I was just tensing up in my seat. Oh, I am really, really impressed that they're making this Reinhardt work. And you were right. I mean, into the Domina, it's really, really effective. You cancel out that beam almost entirely. And then the tank duel, you know, the Domina doesn't have the armor the armor health. So the Reinhardt is just, yeah, going to come out on the other side a bit better.
Another big win here for Play Group is that as we are in overtime, it's going to take longer and longer for these spawns to come through. So Ghost Town did get that long spawn. The Diva, lots of mobility to get back into things here, but Play Group are going to be able to still be on this Reinhardt. You're still going to have this strong front line, and you have the amplification matrix ready to go, so you have an opportunity to make even more space here on Streets phase to work with.
Yeah, there's a reason why Reinhardt has always kind of been a fan favorite pick on this map, because that shield pretty much covers the whole choke and really allows you to make a lot of space. Window coming out is going to make space of its own. Diva Bomb cast down onto the back line. Dr. Rickhoffen is going to be taken out. That's one support down. But Suri coming out with the OC is going to be taken out by Balerion. It's back and forth. The DPS on the side of Playgroup are going to have to do everything in their power to keep this car moving. Balerion on the Freya. It's monumental plays that keep the plate rolling.
It's going forward here. Overtime's still ticking. This is a fantastic push here for Plate Group, and I really think that Balerion over on this Freya is having a really good time just staying back out of the fights, not getting drawn forward and taking a fight on the payload, so you're able to just rein in that damage from far away. And now Plate Group gonna have the beat almost online and the shatter, but ult's ready to go already for Pibble Platoon, and this Southern Play could make all the difference.
The beat is a great response here, but a pick might be found by the Vendetta. That's a good shatter, taking out both on the back line. No follow-up though, and now Dr. Rickhoffen can come in with the beat. That follow-up needed to happen there from Playgroup, and it just did not, allowing the back line to come through and the beat to help sustain the team. You've got a Blizzard, but I think it got eaten there. Ghost Town, always with these mechanics on the DM. It's still pretty back and forth though. Here, Rain, Playgroup might be able to find something. Big Shrimping does find a pick.
Oh my gosh, the overtime is gonna go away
No,
so quickly.
no.
As soon as Balerion has once again.
Oh my god.
Oh, no, Prime.
Oh.
Okay. That was close.
Balerion is literally making me sit on the edge of my seat right now, nearly clutching out another fight. God, it's a great push though here from Playgroup. That is exactly what you wanted.
Yeah, you had a minute on the clock here if you're Play Group, and you get almost all the way to the end of that second point on King's Row here. Once Valerian was forced to be the one that was fighting on the cart, it was kind of all over for Playgroup, because the Vendetta versus the Freya in a close range battle, you gotta give that one over to the Giant Sword here. So Pibble Platoon able to stop that just before the second point here, but we gotta remember Pibble Platoon has a massive time bank to work with here, so it's not over yet here for Playgroup. They still have a monumental task ahead of them.
Yeah, I think really you're relying here for Playgroup to really come through on first point. We've seen them struggle on second. They managed to make on their second time round on the attack. They did manage to make their way through kind of the first half of point 2 a lot cleaner. When I say cleaner, the fights were very, very messy. They managed to get through it quicker, but it was quite messy, and they did get halted before they could get to third point. So you're really, really banking on yourselves to be able to hold strong on point 1 and find your footing on point 2, where you've just struggled to so far.
Yeah, totally agree here. Mitsuri is going to be denied that headshot, looking for it on the Widowmaker.
Always have to go for it.
You gotta go for it, absolutely. How to draw over on the Ram here, so is going to have a lot of really kind of this point presence here. Pibble Platoon are going to have to rotate Mitsuri up onto a high ground. You can see they're doing just that, but you're met with Valerian over on that Freya.
Gangnam finds an opening pick. Dr. Rehoffen taken out a little bit too aggressive there. And Prime also, I mean, they're not really able to find an in too well. This is quite a beefy comp here with the Ramatra and the Mei. It's a front line that you can't really get past very confidently.
No, I absolutely agree. And you see Ghost Town going in, uses the boosters. It does end up paying off here, as the DPS for Pibble Platoon, always good for that follow-up.
There is a trade that comes out of this fight, though. How to Draw does manage to find the mech of the Diva, but in so deep, chasing Ghost Town down, not able to really get back out securely. And I think we're getting split spawns here as well from the side of Playgroup. It's going to be a rough regroup here.
I think they made it just in time.
Oh, they did?
Just in time, though. Literally half a second here, so Playgroup not going to have that long far walk back, as the Diva mech is going to be back in the fight here for Ghost Town. And you can see Playgroup are looking to walk up aggressively because they want control of this choke point.
Yeah, this main archway is going to be your saving grace on that Ramatra, holding the corner with the block. Matsuri, though, takes out Jinx. The mechanics are too good. Valerian does manage to find a trade. Will this Freya come up? As we've seen it before, it's a big sword, but they out 27 HP, and the Dream Valerian is all that is keeping Playgroup together. An aggressive push from How to Draw manages to catch out the stragglers of the fight, and the rest is sent back to try regroup.
I think you gotta commit the bola shot there. If you're Valerian, you have to solo ult that Vendetta, and it does pay off, but crucially, Pibble Platoon are going to be able to get control of that archway. Playgroup need to wait for the reinforcements to come back. They do have the Blizzard to work with here. Very, very important ultimate when you're forcing these fights on the payload, but we're not in that overtime yet, so Pibble Platoon can opt to just take a dry fight here, try and force some ults out of Playgroup, and then come in again strong with their ults for the next one.
Yeah, looking to punish Ghost Town there, comes out the wall. The rush does come in. They are looking to take it right here, right now. And Matsuri is going to be a recipe for that dish. But the beat managed to sustain the side of Playgroup, as well as the Annihilation, not letting How to Draw get taken out by Matsuri's overclock. And a great response there, defensive response from Playgroup.
Yeah, I totally agree. The Kitsune Rush and the overclock is a deadly combo here. So not only do you have that beat to make sure that you're going to stay alive through it, but the Annihilation is also going to deny all the space of the Kitsune Rush, so you don't have that available if you're Pibble Platoon. But you do have 3 other ults available for this next fight. So now we're going to have to really see this Blizzard from Gangnam make a difference. It cannot get eaten.
Yeah, beat response from Dr. Rickhoffen in response to the rush here. And just a good kite from Pibble Platoon. They do use the beat. Maybe they didn't even need to because they kite that so effectively. And now they're coming in with the Vendetta ult. We've seen it draw blood before. Can it again? How to Draw so low, and the follow-up is there. Blizzard comes through, and Prime is frozen. Can the follow-up be found? Matsuri finding Big Shrimp in. This DPS lineup on Pibble Platoon has been so consistent so far. Can they be the ones to close this out? Gangnam, though, and Valerian making me put my words back into my mouth. Oh, he's barely able to touch. It's just the front line left. I think the reinforcements are here. Joe finds the trade. Ooh, Ghost Town getting low there, nearly demeched, and it's a bit scrappy, but it looks like Playgroup barely able to hang on, and with 1 minute remaining, there's not really any ults on either side.
Okay, the DPS from Pibble Platoon are so consistent, but the clutch factor from Gangnam and Valerian just like cannot be understated. Gangnam has incredible aim with these right clicks on the Mei, and it does so much damage, and now it's gonna be even fight here, but How to Draw has come back over on the Doomfist here, so a lot of pressure to try and find an opening punch here, because you're not gonna be able to take a long drawn out fight now that you're on this Doomfist.
Yeah, you want to go fast, but you don't really have the follow-up from Valerian or Gangnam, and going in deep is going to be a little scary. Good wall, though. Splits off Ghost Town from the rest of the team. Low with the mech. Suzu has to be used. Now, just trying to stall on point. Prime going nice and aggressive. Getting very, very close to the beat. Doing a great job shrimping. Just pretty much just sitting there on the cart, living with the heals. And Gangnam, another icicle shot to the head. How many more in this series will he hit? The trade does come through, though. Prime does manage to find Balerion. Gangnam with the Blizzard and the beat. These are strong ults here from the side of Playgroup. Here comes out the beat to go against that rush. A freeze target onto Ghost Town. And here comes the Blizzard on point. They just might be able to bring it back from the jaws of defeat. Playgroup. I cannot believe it. It's just a diva and a dream. The bomb comes out. Matsuri got the overclock. And he's found one. And so is Ghost Town. It's so back and forth. The Doomfist just about getting the ultimate off. It's just a diva. It's just a baby diva. And oh baby, I cannot believe Playgroup managed to hold that one out. The clutch factor from these guys is just insane.
That's really incredible defense here. 5-minute time bank, and Playgroup managed to hold them off. I mean, really great ultimates, ready to go for that last fight. The Blizzard is always going to be so impactful when you're in these overtime fights. You catch onto 2 there. Gangnam is able to find the Elim onto both, and then Jinx getting out that Kitsune Rush despite dying. The Kitsune Rush stays alive, stays in the fight, and that allows How to Draw to come back and finds those limbs to clean up Pibble Platoon. But I mean, this was an absolute nail biter of a match. I am so impressed at how Playgroup has kind of reoriented themselves, put Gangnam over on this Mei, and they really deserved that fight win. It was scrappy, but they really did deserve that one.
Rain, I'm sweating. I'm sweating so much. I am so impressed. I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head. You know, when we're looking at the DPS, it was the DPS that came alive in this map for sure. Mitsuri and Prime, they are consistent. We see Prime get in and out really effectively, knows how to play the Vendetta really well, and follow up on, you know, people being low and cooldowns being used. Mitsuri always good as well. But Gangnam and Balerion just clutched up, just played like their lives depended on it. Here on King's Row, it is 2-2. This is truly a nail biter. I'm not going to have any nails left after we're done with this series.
It's disappearing rapidly here, so
they're gone.
I'm very impressed. Now we are going to give everybody a quick little break here, you know, get some nail polish on or something. Like, you gotta save them. Put yourself back on your seat, get off the edge there, get some water. We're gonna be going over to map number 5. We'll find out if Playgroup can complete this reverse sweep, or if Pibble Platoon is gonna serve Playgroup their first loss. Don't go anywhere. We will be back soon. All right. Well, if you're just tuning in, you have picked a fantastic time to turn on CGL. And if you have been with us from the start, you are definitely a little bit stressed out right now. We are heading to map number 5. It's going to be the deciding factor. Plate Group making a run at this reverse sweep. Pibble Platoon fighting to try and give Plate Group their first loss. And of course, it's going to come down to the deciding factor here. One more map to be played here to decide the champ.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like whenever there's a team is 2 maps up, I feel like most casters always throw the metaphorical frisbee out and go, a reverse sweep could happen. It's not often we actually see it happen, and not only that it is still so close and contentious, and you can physically see through your screen Plate Group clawing their way back through from a loss. They are this close, and now they have the momentum on their side, which is always the case when you see a reverse sweep, when you see a team take back a couple maps off being down 2-0. Everyone is kind of thinking, oh, they're going to take this now. They've got the momentum. But we've seen great things from both teams, and things have been close throughout this entire series.
Oh my gosh, it has been so close. So going to a map number 5, it's the only way we could end this series, I think, as we have one more mode left. It is going to be a flashpoint. So we're heading over on to Suravasa, but just taking a look back at some of the scores on these maps, 3rd point on Ilios, like 1 point on Runas. I mean, it's a push map, so you're
yeah, it's
1 point. But it was very back and forth. Just trust me, go watch the replay if you didn't. But Gibby, I think, was kind of just the outlier here, where Plate Group really just kind of put their foot down, and that was what started. That was what started the reverse sweep, was getting a very decisive win on that map, and then trying to keep the momentum going. Kings Row, of course, so close here. So I don't think I would be surprised if we go to that 5th flashpoint here in Surabasa.
Yeah, me neither. And it is interesting that Gibraltar was the map that kind of swung things back in their favor. In the first couple maps, we were talking about Plate Group playing a bit more methodically, and that's kind of what it seemed like their style was shaping out to be in this series. But then they go to Gibraltar and they just press their foot on the gas, and they somehow aggressed probably the most, up to this point, the most aggressive team in the Masters EU tier. I am beyond impressed from Plate Group to, say, oh, you're going to be this aggressive, we're going to step up even one more notch. And bands coming through, we're going to see the May ban coming out from Pibble Platoon. I mean, Gungam was really a problem for them. So, it makes sense.
I do agree. Yeah, I think that if you're going to go for a DPS ban, the May, maybe not going to have the same value on Suravasa as she would on Kings Row, where you're really looking to make use of those walls. But the Blizzard is going to be scary for any of these maps where you're kind of fighting towards a point here. And of course, Pibble Platoon already used the Tracer ban. I think that maybe they would have wanted to have that kind of for this last one. We were kind of talking about how Gangam has been fantastic on that Tracer as well, and a little bit more likely to see that, I think, on Suravasa now. But Plate Group, gonna have to ban out. Oh, okay. Going for the Lucio ban here.
On the last map.
This is, I think, a kill shot, honestly. Pibble Platoon has been playing this Lucio the vast majority of the time, and we saw that Plate Group comfortable pulling out that Wuyong Kiriko backline that they showed us briefly on Kings Row here. So taking the speed out of things, you were just talking about how Pibble Platoon is such an aggressive team, and this is really cutting off the claws for them.
Yeah, and I think taking out the speed boost as well might really serve well to kind of have Plate Group's style of aggression be better, right? Because Pibble Platoon, they're all about going in as fast as possible, relying on the mechanics, whereas we've seen a lot more from Plate Group, especially on Gibraltar, that they can have extremely good synergy. So that's kind of more their style of aggression. So taking out the Lucio might be just a brilliant move from them that could tie up this last map in great tactical fashion. Look at that little croc. He's having a great time.
He's here for map number 5. Everybody is enjoying this. Okay, I was interested to see what is Pibble Platoon thinking for their backline, because basically they have run 4 supports throughout the entirety of this series. The Lucio Kiriko and the Ana Brig on Gibraltar here. I would be surprised if they stick with the Kiriko Brig. Definitely not a conventional backline by any means, but hey, if this is the hero pool that you have to work with, this is what you're gonna have to work with. It is gonna be Brig Kiri backline. Prime over on the Vendetta crucially here, so doesn't have the speed to work with, but Ghost Town is gonna be over on that Zarya to give out those bubbles. Plate group though, moving back over on to this Wrecking Ball here, so we're gonna see that synergy you mentioned in action for them.
Yes, their synergy has built up a lot better over the course of this series, but we saw how much they struggled with this ball comp to find value into the Vendetta Zarya. It's why, you know, even though it was a close map, Runasapi was really, really difficult for them. Already, though, Valerion is able to kind of synergize quite well with the ball up on that angle, not being able to be hit by Mitsuri. Takes out 2, really carrying over this mechanical prowess from King's Row, landing all of those beautiful shots, and they actually managed to flip the point back into their favor. I think we're going to see Playgroup really relying a lot on Valerion in this last map.
Yeah, I totally agree with you here. I also think that Dr. Richtofen is going to be bullied to all heck here on the Brigitte between the damage that comes in from Valerian, who already has this Pola shot ready to go, but then also the Tracer and the ball.
Yeah, it doesn't manage to find any kills with that bolus shot. And we're seeing as well, Ghost Town, you know, you're charging up this man to 100, but it doesn't even seem Plate Group care. They're just trying to do as much front-facing damage as humanly possible. And now, using those bubbles early, Ghost Town is low. Every member of Pibble Platoon is just falling over. I mean, this is really impressive from Plate Group. They do manage to find the trade onto the Wrecking Ball Pibble Platoon, but they're all being sent back to the spawn doors. In return, good pulse on the wall. Intimidation. I like it.
That's right. Force the positioning so that the wave could find the follow-up damage.
Exactly.
Really
it was all
setting
planned.
your Wu Yang up. Good stuff, gang up. But this is going to be the first point capped here for Plate Group. There's not really an entryway for Pibble Platoon to come back into this. Mitsuri is going to swap over onto the Cassidy here. I do like this. You're going to be able to play a little bit closer to the Brigitte, so Doctor isn't going to be kind of picked out first every time. And you're going to be able to slow down some of this momentum that the Wrecking Ball will have to try and take some of that frontline pressure off. So it is going to be Palace for the next point here. It's going to be the Kitsune Rush ready to go here for Geo. This is a great point to use it on. Pibble Platoon probably going to want to try and go first in this, but you got to be careful because of this this mobility from Plate Group. They can just kite out of it.
Yeah, here comes another bowler. Going to be taking out the Mitsuri. I thought he had High Noon, but no, he was just standing there on point. Unfortunate bowler right to the face. Really good though there from Pibble Platoon. Even after they lose one member of their team, they stay strong. They look and have really good target focus there, actually. And the front line of Prime and Ghost Town really doing a good job of holding their own.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I do think that Pibble Platoon, now that they're in control of this point, are going to have a little bit better of a time working with their composition against what Plate Group are running. You're going to be able to get Mitsuri set up kind of a little bit further back going. Ooh, okay, I see that. Actually looking for a little bit of a flank here. So Plate Group have actually an opportunity to push into things now that the cast is not there to put the pressure on.
Yeah, I was about to say, on a flank, not able to use the CC there to disable the Wrecking Ball to go in. But, you know, and now the aggression coming in from the side of Play Group can't be punished, and they get the flip onto the point with only using the Tidal Blast there from Shrimping. So, really good ult trade, really, to get that point.
Yeah, I agree, and it's a good kind of capitalization on the displaced Cassidy there from Plate Group. So as soon as they see that opening, they walk in. They have lots of ults to try and hold this. The mines alone will be enough to really control all the space on the point. We see that Pibble Platoon, they have to make this rotation up to the high ground. You need to get Mitsuri set up there with Dr. Richtofen.
Yeah, speaking of Mitsuri chasing down that Tracer after forcing the recall, there comes out the mines. Geo gets taken down. This enclosed space, they cannot survive it. How to draw, takes out 3 and sends the Brig to maybe think about jumping in some water.
Oh my gosh, I was thinking the mines were for the point, but you know what? The mines do great in a small enclosed space as well.
The mines work in mysterious ways, Rain.
They truly do. It's a late kill onto Mitsuri as well here, so this is good for Plate Group, building up the 80%. It's going to be, once again, very scrappy if Pibble Platoon even want to come into this. Looks like they do at least want to get some overtime here.
Yeah, and here come... Ooh, dying with the rush, actually. I think if you're play group, you're fine taking this fight dry. You let Pibble Platoon use their rally, which is such a good defensive cooldown going into the rush, and then you can be as aggressive as you like going into this next fight.
Now, it's going to be... Ooh, nice shots here from Mitsuri.
They're still up.
Yeah, and the thing is, How to Draw is still alive here. The Wrecking Ball has so much HP, so...
No, stop
this! Oh my gosh.
Play group, you guys gotta stop just coming back in and winning fights like this. Pibble Platoon just cannot handle it. They come back quickly. Play group on this Wrecking Ball comp, it's what it is so useful for, is this stall and being able to come back quickly. Gangnam getting taken out by Prime, and the flip finally comes through after Play group have actually now used some ults, but the mines are back online at the very least.
Ooh, yeah, and we've seen what those mines can do. Ghost Town is going to have to build up to this grav pretty quickly here, but everybody from Pibble Platoon is still set up on this low ground. I really do think that they need to get themselves set up on the high ground because they need to control some of this space.
There goes the mines. This time it is to space out point. Looking for the kill onto Mitsuri. Managed to get the melee finisher on there. There goes the grab into the back line. Valerion is taken out. This front line is so aggressive, but maybe a little too aggressive. Jinx does manage to take out Ghost Down. No bubbles left. Too much enabling Prime. Fair enough. If I had Prime on my team, I'd be bubbling them too. Now the front line of play group looking for the kill onto Dr. Rickleton. That was not said right at all, but it doesn't matter. Gundam is making my tongue twist with these beautiful plays here on the front line. Valerion also finishing up some lovely kills here. Now it's 2 points up for play group, and they're looking to run away with it.
This could be it. One more point to close things out here on Surabasa and on the reverse sweep that play group have been cooking up. It's going to be ruins for this third flashpoint here on Surabasa. Now, you can see that Pibble Platoon are going to get set up first on the point here. Mitsuri's going to move over onto the Sojourn off of that Cassidy, so you're not going to have that hinder anymore to stop the momentum. So that means that you're going to have to do a whole lot of work with these overclock or with this railgun.
Yeah, Tidal Blast going in onto the Trace is such an effective combination. Managed to get Mitsuri on the ground, begging for their life. Gets the pick, and here we see the aggression really coming through. Play group, this is what they're looking for, really. These messy fights, they're also survivable. They can afford to be just kind of dancing around and looking to hopefully pick up some kills in the process. Sent back to spawn, and Pibble Platoon, they're really looking rough here. They're not really finding a lot in the neutral.
No, and I really do think that's because of how well Playgroup is playing this composition that they're on. It's all about kind of doing this little chip damage from a bunch of different angles here, and Pibble Platoon just don't know where to look.
Oh, there's the bowler. Ooh, that's a really good rally timing there from Dr. Rickhoffen. Geo does fall in the fight, but now so does Jinx. Caught out there by the flail. Able to take a lot of front-facing space with that rally. But still, we've seen so many times how to draw, sort out these points, is going to finally be taken out. And it's just a matter of time until they manage to get the flip. 65%. Making that almost pretty much 70. That's 30% standing in the way of Playgroup and victory in this series.
And not to mention they have the ults to make that 30% happen here. The Pulse Bomb, the mines from How to Draw. This is a... Okay, look, I'm going to say this about mines everywhere, but this is a really good point for mines. And the point is so small, you're going to be able to just dump them on the point and force Pibble Platoon to walk right into them.
Well, there you go. And now Prime is stuck between a mine and a hard place. Finding Gangnam knocking at their door. Valerion is going to manage to find a nice pokey pick onto Mitsuri, and they can't really push themselves onto point. Now it's ticking up. We're looking at 8%. It's almost 15% between Playgroup and victory, and it's just too messy from Pibble Platoon. They have ultimates, but they're just not being able to be used. Playgroup are everywhere. And they tried to come back onto the point. It's just not going to happen. Playgroup on this Wrecking Ball comp, we didn't think they could pull it off, and they managed to. The clutch factor of this team managed to get them back. The reverse sweep, I'm just so impressed. I have no words.
Yeah, this is incredible. We, like you mentioned, as casters, we do tend to throw out, oh, you know, could see a reverse sweep. We could see it happen. I would say that probably 9 times out of 10, you do not see it happen. But yeah, definitely Playgroup put it together here. They locked in, and so crucially, they had that Lucio ban ready for the last map.
Perfect.
It was honestly such a good read here. Unfortunately for Dr. Rickhoffen, and looked fantastic on the Lucio and on the Brig, but wasn't able to match on that Wuyong Kiriko composition, and Playgroup looked so fantastic on it and really found their groove after that Watchpoint Gibraltar map. So well done to Playgroup. They are going to extend their win streak here with a win in week 4.
Yeah, I mean, barely. I mean, Pibble Platoon really, you know, made it very, very difficult for them. You know, I've talked about it many, many times, but for Pibble Platoon, their front line is just so scary. Matsuri, Prime, Ghost Town, their front line, these players can just pop off at a moment's notice. Playgroup, though, here on King's Row, we actually saw the opposite. To be honest, we saw the pop-offs from Gangam and Balerion really clutching up here and helping be the recipe for the victory. That really, I mean, you know, obviously Gibraltar did start that snowball, but King's Row, the amount of clutch plays, I could tell their blood was pumping. They were ready to win this series.
Yeah, and then Surabasa to clean things out. I mean, this is... Look, a reverse sweep is always going to be very impressive here, but especially keeping in mind that Playgroup had to win back-to-back map picks from Pibble Platoon. Pibble Platoon had every opportunity in this kind of map 4, map 5 to make it as hard as possible for Playgroup to try and find those wins. And that's, I think, why we saw King's Row be so close there, is because Pibble Platoon had it in their power to take themselves to a map where they were going to be most comfortable on these compositions. The Domino looked fantastic from Pibble Platoon, and it really made Playgroup kind of sweat a little bit there. But yeah, once Playgroup got the win on King's Row, that is bringing the morale all the way up here, and they really did carry that into Surabasa, finishing out 3-0. And I don't think that Surabasa was anywhere near as close as some of those other maps that we got to see tonight. So you definitely felt like Playgroup were amped up and ready to go for that last map.
Yeah, and when we look at the bans here, you know, we can see the trend of where Playgroup started to win. These last 3 bans from them were just so instrumental in them clawing back this game. The Diva ban to open things out, but I mean, to be honest, the Diva and then the Zarya ban held on to pretty much a target Ghost Town, if we're being honest. And then the Lucio ban, not a target ban per se, because we'd seen them play into the Brig, you know, and do it decently well on Gibraltar. But to disable them on Flashpoints, a map where you need to be aggressive, not allowing them to play their, you know, their usual aggressive style, and that just helped really put the nail on the coffin. Playgroup using the ban game so well.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. And like you mentioned, the Lucio on Surabasa, most teams are probably practicing that. If you're running a scrim, you're probably running Lucio on Surabasa. So to be able to rotate your main support over onto the Wuyong, it's big benefit to have there for the side of Playgroup. So we are going to throw it over to a quick break. We are going to get an interview set up with Playgroup. So I'm definitely excited to hear from this team. I hope everybody else is as well. So don't go anywhere. We will have a chat with them just after this. right.
Hello,
That was
guys.
a banger of a match here. Map number 5, like, we do not get to see that very often, do we, Crumble? So we, of course, are going to be having a chat with the victors here. We have How to Draw and Big Shrimping with us from the side of Plate Group.
Yeah, how's it going?
Hey.
Yeah, big win for you guys here. Obviously, being 2-0 down in a series is always a little scary. What was it like on Gibraltar, kind of finding your footing, that feeling of, oh, maybe we can bring this back? Like, what did the team energy really, could you feel that malleable shift in the team energy there on Gibraltar?
Yeah, I think like the first 2 matches we really put it down to, I think it was, we just weren't playing how we usually play. I think Gibraltar, we knew that like they were mostly like a Zarya Diva team. We knew like that map would be like free pretty much, and then if we just kept like the momentum going from that, it was doable.
Makes sense. Definitely worked out for you guys. Big Shrimpin', I would love to hear a little bit about the supports that you played. So especially on map number 5, where you guys came out with that Lucio ban. I mean, Crumble and I were talking that we definitely do not see a Lucio ban held on for that long, and then also to be coming out on Flashpoint. So is that something that you guys have been preparing for? Like, that is kind of a, you know, a shot that you have, or is it something that you just decided in the moment, recognizing that you have the heroes to make it happen?
No, we kind of have that. We had that sort of pre-planned. We knew they were wanting to play the Zarya Vendetta comp, and so we knew even if we went down the sort of 2 maps, we knew we had at least 3. We had sort of 3 bans. We can ban the Zarya, we can ban Vendetta, and we can ban Lucio to try and sort of cripple that comp a little bit. And we know that like if we play that ball Kiri Wu Yang stuff, we just basically Tracer and Ball are the only people who can really get up, who really need to sort of be up in their face. Wu Yang, if someone goes on me, I hit wave, I run away with shift. Like, Kiri teleports away, Freya just flies away. There's not really anyone they can go on, and we just sort of keep spamming until our front line can get a good engage, and then we can go in.
Fantastic. We love a step-by-step process, especially when it's followed to the T. 3-0 on Suravasa. It was a pretty clean way to finish out the map number 5. Now, on the other side of things, How to Draw, we saw you briefly play some of the Domina. Is that something that you guys are leaning into, or is that something that you felt you just had to bring out in that mirror matchup?
It's something we've like toyed with. We haven't like, we've played like a few maps, but we haven't really said like this is a comp we want to like, you know, dedicate time to, but we play it for a bit. Like, I feel comfortable enough pulling it out, but I think, I mean, the King's Row end up weird anyway. I end up in Reinhardt and Doomfist, and they're definitely not approved heroes for me, but we managed to like hold for 5 minutes, so I think that map was just a bit weird. I wouldn't take too much from that map.
It's fair enough.
Yeah, that is fair enough. I mean, I will say, because of how hectic that map was, we were just freaking out over here on the broadcast, like biting our nails, spin around in our chairs. I want to ask you guys, out of the people on the other side, on Pibble Platoon, who would you guys say was either the most problematic player, or your personal MVP of their side, or just the most annoying to deal with?
I know who I would say.
Okay, go on. We can do one each. We can do one each.
Vendetta that hero, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people feel that sentiment.
She's really strong. It's just because it's like, when like on map 5, I just have to play so much further away than what I would want to be playing, just to even give myself a chance to sort of not just get insta-deleted by swing overhead, poof. Where did my health bar go?
Yeah,
I
guess
so
no, their Vendettas, their Vendetta was really good. Like, on King, I think King's Row especially. It's a good job CGL doesn't have comms check, because I think ours were unintelligible.
Just gobbles. So moving over to you, How to Draw, who would you say?
I think their tank player is good if you let them play their heroes. Like, I think very good, like Diva, Zarya, decent Domina, but I think very bannable as well, so sorry, I didn't mean for that to be a backhanded compliment.
Oh, well, I mean, I feel like Ghost Town, we were talking about this on a broadcast, is quite a sharp player, like very mechanically intensive, has his heroes that he's incredibly good at. And to be fair, in all fairness, you guys took advantage of that with your bans. Just to round us out on the broadcast, do you guys have any people you want to shout out? Your mum, your dad, your dog, your coach, whoever it might be.
Shout out to our teammates. Shout out to, I think, the 2 Playgroup fans in Twitch chat. They were like 1v10ing or something. So
yeah,
a lot of Pibble Platoon fans in there.
Yeah,
and yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, our biggest shout out is to the all 2 or 3 of the Plate Group supporters in the chat.
Shout out to Playgroup Legion.
Yeah.
But yeah, also shout out to CGL, like casters, tourney staff, and everything for putting on the tournaments. It's really fun to play in, so much appreciated.
Love that. Yeah. Well, thank you both so much for being on. Congratulations not only on the reverse sweep, but on continuing out your win streak as well, undefeated as you head into week number 5. So we will let you go celebrate with your teammates now.
Yeah, thank you. See you later. Bye.
Thank you.
Oh, so fun to get to talk to the other teams, and nice to hear them kind of give little shout outs as well to the other teams, because I totally agree. Pibble Platoon played very, very well through this, so it's nice to see them get their flowers despite not being able to topple this now 4-0 team.
Yeah, I mean, we saw it the whole series. This was incredibly close. I think on any other day, it could have gone the other. I think it would have still been a 5-map series. I still think it would have been that. But it could have gone either way, to be honest. And on this day, in particular, Plate Group managed to be the ones to claw that victory. And yeah, like you say, they're doing really well so far in the round robin, holding themselves at the very, very top of the leaderboard. Who will be the first team to take a series away from them? It's going to be really exciting to see when that happens, or if.
Or if, yeah, I like that. All right, well, you guys had so much Overwatch to watch here in the EU division, but later on tonight, we are going to be having the NA division, so I feel like there is a lot of hype to live up now, but Dire Triggers versus EMP, no match found. That is going to be happening at 8:30 here on the CGL broadcast, so definitely want to tune back into that one if you are awake later on tonight. If you're EU, it's okay. You can watch the VOD, or you can stay up. Who am I to tell you what to do? But it has been so fun to get to watch this 5-map series. Thank you so much to Crumble for joining me, getting in, out of the game, and behind the desk. It's been so fun.
It's been great.
Right?
Yeah.
We'll have to have more players on here more often.
Yeah.
Thank you so much to our prod team as well. So we had Hippie controlling everything, and then we had Mara that was doing all of the observing. So thank you to them. Thank you to the players for putting on such a banger of a match, and to everybody that came out to support them on both sides. But that is going to be it for this afternoon or evening if you're in EU. So make sure to check back in around 8:30 Eastern for that NA match. But we will see you then.